It's all alive, y'all.
I'm I'm sensing something, something brave, something valiant. Val, that's it. Do we have a Val in the room? Is there someone? I'm also sensing Guyana, Guyanese, Chinese, Japanese, I don't know, W. Something in this? Something. Okay, hold on. Yeah, it's a one that's being. I'm picking up. Yeah, yeah, that's it. That's correct. Jupiter is riding in Uranus. That's correct. Jupiter rising in Uranus as it crosses across, yeah, into the parallel universe of the Aurora constellation in Capricorn. So, how are we, guys?
Hey,
You're
Patricia, how
coming
are
to the healing
you?
session.
Hello, Patricia.
Oh my
Good,
God.
good. This is good. It's
Right.
almost as if Val's head symbolizes the same mystical shape. If I
I have
can get
almost the same amount
something
of
out of
shine.
this.
Oh
Let's get
man.
to it, boys. Let's get to this.
All right. We were.
Can we please have Goldie or Patricia?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Rapper Talk 521-2020. We are here, myself, MC Armanni Reign, focus over swag, hip hop, drum and bass, and everything in between. We got New York's finest, the MC
Where's your
T.R.A.C. and
at? Where's your at?
Odyssey.
What's up, guys? Okay, so we're going into this shit. I'm sick of this shit. Absolutely sick of this shit. I'm so sick of this shit. People talking shit.
What's going
Trash
on, man?
talking. I don't know.
Who's
Where
talking
we
shit,
at?
dog?
I
Who's
don't know.
talking?
Where we at?
Let
What's
us
going
know,
on?
bro. Let's talk about it.
You guys,
Fucking blow your fucking crystal ball shit out of here. Tree hugging motherfuckers. You know what I think? It's a fucking pandemic. God damn it.
Oh my God.
how you doing? How you been? You all right?
Hold on. Let's get rid of this motherfucker because I didn't come to Thailand for this shit.
What's going on back there, man?
I don't know. It's so fucking rainy season. Goddamn fucking heater. Get the goddamn kid out of here. What is it? What do you want? No. Yeah.
You're making deals.
89. That's what it is, bitches. All right, we're in. We're ready to go. We're twitching. We up. All right. Let's do this.
Too many deals. Too many deals. You too busy,
Too many
man.
deals.
Also, we got the Valiant.
Hi, guys.
Hey, black ass.
Oh
Good to
no.
see you.
How we doing, boys?
Man. We
You got
good,
a lot
brother.
of
How are
company
you?
over there, bro.
That's all.
Man.
Complete story. What you saying? Three,
I
two,
like-
one. British Toms.
I'm glad you're social distancing at least. None of you
At
were in the
least,
room at the
at
same
least.
time. That's good.
Well,
That's
yeah. I mean, it's a bit crazy, but it was not crazy really. I mean, it's. Don't get me started on that shit.
good.
Please.
Okay, we can skip it if you want to.
I'm just. Yeah, I know it's really bad because it has taken out a lot of people. But every 11 years we get this. We had it with bird flu. We had it with this shit. We had, and then of course the Spanish got blamed for Spanish flu, which wasn't actually Spanish.
Yeah, so
And it
we
was
to place
like,
blame on
apparently
people.
40, 50 million people. But who did the census back then when you never had internet? That's why.
That's a good point. That's a good point. I don't
Very
think
true.
Anyway, how are you guys, man? Val, and fucking my boy here, T.R.A.C. What's going on?
Not much, man. How are you? Good morning, I should say.
We are
Hey, good
here.
morning.
Oh,
Hey.
thank you. I am ahead. If anyone wants to know the winning lottery numbers for tomorrow,
Yes.
just go ahead and I can send them through.
So
And
for
we'll-
so everybody knows he is exactly 11 hours ahead of us. So it is 9 a.m. in the morning for him. So in your honor, I am not drinking alcohol tonight. I'm just going to drink water
that's
with
cool.
you because
What?
it's early. Hey! You do what
Okay,
you do.
all right, all
I
right.
do what I
You're not
do.
drinking? That's good. I haven't drank for months, which is strange.
Good. I
Considering,
hear.
considering the fucking tours we did, obliterated.
Are we going to talk about that?
We made. 1 second. Let me just get this fucking thing burning my eyes out. Yes.
It was the last dude that was in the room, bro.
Yeah, he was. Probably,
No, man. Yeah,
going
I
heavy.
think that somewhere along all of that traveling and crazy experience, some screws got loose somewhere in my psyche of some sort, and it really trickled down to just borderline madness, I guess.
Absolutely. The chat is lit. They're saying hello to you, so you can say hi to the chat. I know you can't see them, but they're out there. So big up to the chat. Everybody that's coming through. We will be talking throughout the entire joint. If you have any questions, I can't guarantee you we're going to get to them, but you know what the drill is. MJ is modding tonight, so he might text me if something seems crazy, but salute to everybody tuned in right now, and thank you, Goldie, for coming up here, man, especially early in the morning.
This is afternoon, by the way, for me.
Wait,
because
what?
he's like, I get up at like 5. You know what I'm saying?
Do you?
This is like the afternoon. It's crazy.
What's funny is I hit him up like, yo, man, let's link up beforehand and make sure everything works. And he's like, yeah, I'm about to go take a nap. I'm like, do you sleep?
I do. You know, I do it in 2, 4. I do it in a 4 and a 3. So I go to bed at like 9, 10, 11, 12, 1. So I get up on automatic DJ kind of time.
Right.
And then I stay awake pottering for like 2 hours, and then I get down and do like an hour and a half, 2 hours, and get up.
Pottering.
Just did a quick 20. You're pottering, you know, like old men. They go and make a cup of tea, and they go and have a biscuit, and they sit down and contemplate life.
Pottering.
You know, when you were a kid and you saw like a light on in some flat with some old guy in a dress. That's me.
No, I'm not mad at it. I like that. I'm about to come up there.
So you get up at 5 in the morning.
Yeah, every morning, usually 5 o'clock before the morning prayer, because I live in a Muslim village, which is cool. And usually the drill would be I get up, I swim. But of course, being the way that it is, you're not allowed to swim in the morning because, of course, the sea's got lots of COVID in it.
Is that? I didn't know.
Wow.
Yeah, well, of course. And also, little they know that fish don't actually have cancer. That's one thing that fish don't suffer
So
from.
there's a bunch of COVID-19 fish out there? Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah, well, apparently that's about it.
You can hear them coughing if you put your head.
But you can go to the mall. Seriously, you can go to the mall, which leads me to my next thing, which I felt was unbelievable. Which I felt that the world. I got through lots of theories about this. You know, the idea of the big conspiracy and blah blah blah. And I saw this. I don't know if you can see this shit, but this is 2 people in the mall yesterday in fucking bubble suits. Yeah, this was in Photek yesterday.
Is that real? That's real.
Yeah, it's real. 2 people. They were outside. They got a little pump out and they blew the shit up and got into it. And I take it they were going to the lingerie department to try some new shit on. I mean, that's going to be awkward.
People pay to do that on cruise ships.
But what's crazy about it is that they're still busting sneakers, so I guess they can go to Foot Locker.
Yeah, those are dope. Well, the fish aren't selling anything, so you know what I'm saying? You can't get in the water.
It's crazy, right? I mean, that's like... So it has become nuts, but I don't know. I'm just a little bit... I don't want to seem outspoken because, of course, if you have a voice, people seem to forget that you have an opinion, and my opinion is based on just my opinion. Believe me, a lot of it's bullshit, because if you listen to the guy in my head... I would have gone. This shit would have gone tits up a long time ago. Do you know what I'm saying? So in that respect, I find it really good from a spiritual point of view, which is kind of what brings you here. And I guess, well, you know, some people don't really buy into that. But I watched a great documentary called Luna the other day, which is on YouTube in high res. It's quite strange because there's a tribe called the Doogie tribe that went to South America in the 80s, and they come from South America. They had a film crew go down there, and they talked about rivers being severed and veins being severed of the mother planet and stuff. And she's very sick right now, and of course she is sick. And I think her reaction is that of anything to do with, you know, if we fuck with stuff, then stuff will fuck with us.
True that.
You know, we've been splicing genes, and every time we splice the genes, or we tried the hydrogen collider bullshit and all that stuff, you're going to find more atoms, man. The universe is infinite. Get over it. We start from 0 and we end at X, whatever that's in our own timeline. That's my own theory. But, but life is good. I think the idea of going through all the conspiracy theories, which I did way back then, you know what I mean? Like, I've kind of been there, got the T-shirt. Do you know what I mean? Right. You know, the one thing that I find brilliantly good about this planet is that it's back to like the ego of which we constantly. This is based on the ego slightly. We're here, we're putting ourselves in a conversation. You know, the yoga, you know, looking in the mirror, it's a fucking ego. It's what we have to have a certain amount of it
for sure to
deal with it. It's how we use that, and I feel that the whole aspect of leaving the gravity of conspiracy and then realizing heaven. You know, you get to the golden era. This is it. this is the heaven, because I can smell it, I can taste it, whether it's death I can smell in Thailand, and I can smell flowers in the same minute on a motorbike from a dead fish on the ocean bed, you know, on the beach that's just washed up, stench, flowers, and death, you know, the death isn't sitting in some chair being told, right, okay, so you're pagan, so you need to get in that queue, and you're Jewish, you need to get in that queue. Sorry, you killed too many ants as a child, so you're, you know, because obviously God's an ant king. Right. You're gonna burn, and I tell you what, we're gonna burn you for infinity. Well, okay, so if you're gonna burn for infinity, that means you're gonna get used to the burning. All right, so if I'm gonna be sitting in a candy chair because I'm in heaven now, and I'm sitting in the most comfortable chair, and all my folks are there, and I'm sitting in a candy floss chair, some kind of human part of me is gonna want to get up after a little while because I'm just too comfortable. So the idea of that heaven doesn't exist. It's just the idea of not being able to remember anything, my family, my books, just not being able to remember it, period, like sleep.
It's a strange concept, isn't it?
That's the concept that's the one that I'm most petrified of, but allowing petrification to be something better than the fact that just live it, man, because we spend, you know, if we look at the amount of time we spent on conspiracy theories as a kid. True. You know, when I was into Rasta, and you know, Selassie is in a fucking in a cell, and he disappeared and turned into a lion, and there's, you know, all religions are right. You know what I mean? No one's wrong. There's just a different point of view. But just get on with the fucking thing, man. Like, people have their opinions, and of course, this social thing is a platform for people's opinions, and of course, some have more opinions than others. No track record, zero track record. Like, show me your track record first. Show me the university of the street that you came from. And what you put behind you, whether it's art, production, poetry, rap, spitting, show me pages, motherfucker. Show me scripts. Show me like years of shit before you come to me with some fucking personified bullshit because you didn't agree.
Whoa! But they've been watching YouTube for at least 3 months now.
Oh, maybe I should let you guys speak because my ego's taking over this shit.
Well, you know what? No, that's okay. Actually, I wanted to ask you about your ego for a second. In a good way. No, I just, you know, anyone who's following you on social media knows that you've gotten, like, you know, deep into yoga and stuff like that. You're living in Thailand. You know, some kind of spiritual journey is happening. So talk on that a little bit.
Yeah, I wanted to.
What made that stick with you, especially like the yoga route?
Well, hot yoga. I mean, Bikram had his own fucking fucked up shit because I think that, you know, I love Bikram as a guy, but then all this other bullshit came out with his touchy feely shit.
Yeah,
right.
I love. You see, the thing is, when you come from a culture of Indian culture, there's a lot of other stuff that comes with that. You know, the idea that, you know, it's a 250 gram watch, but yeah, okay, but you're supposed to be a spiritual guy. Okay, so that doesn't make any fucking sense. Well, life's a contradiction. But the actual practice, especially hot practice, you know, I've got guys like Geraldo in New York, Kelly, Isaac, who's my sister, you know, we got Yo Gangster in New York now. We're doing all that stuff, and we got the studio in Lower East Side, and we're about to open one on Fifth Ave.
Oh, that's what's up.
You know, but, you know, who would have thought me, you know, practicing yoga? And I guess we have to understand that it is practice. It's like any other type of meditation. Like we do TM, for example, which is transcendental meditation, you know, on a daily basis, 20 minutes. But yoga, especially because of coming from clubs, hot, you know, buzzing on ease, where you're baking out of your head, you're just baking, you know. So we're used to heat, right. And you know, the cure for a pandemic, a cure for flu in our old days was just drop 2 pills, you'll be all right, man. Just sweat it out, motherfucker. You know? But going back to the point of practice, I've been 12 years this year into my practice. You know, Monday comes, you know, I do my Savasanas, you know, Wednesday, Friday. Monday, I get online with Paul Dobson, who's my yoga teacher, my very first yoga teacher. Ruthless motherfucker, you know, and his journey and his story was what pulled me into yoga. The fact that people like us, you know, yo, man, fuck that. I'm doing yoga form. I'm gonna stretch my body and all everything there. You know what I'm saying? Right. But when you start looking at Gil Scott Heron, when he you know, Gil Scott Heron, and you look at Sonny Rollins, you know, doing a handstand. You know, Quincy Jones. Now, you know, all know Quincy Jones. You might not know the previous two. Quincy Jones is big into his yoga. You know what I mean? Abdul-Jabbar, you know, these guys, which you have to understand, it comes from the Indies, you know, the trail winds. We look at the way the trail winds are on the planet and how we get this stuff. And I think the West's conception of, you know, spirituality and everything else is like, okay, we'll sell you aloe vera in a jar with some blurb. You just cut the motherfucking plant yourself, man, in the jungle. Take it, cut it open. There's aloe vera. You know, we just like to repackage everything. Yoga's 5,000 years old, and you know, different attributes of Ashtanga, and you know, there's different aspects of yoga. And all my friends that I kind of swapped a whole bunch of drug friends. I started deleting drug numbers, but then just to try and get them back again. It's like, well, that's addiction. You know what I'm saying? Yo, you got that guy's number again? You know, but you know, you want to understand that addiction for me is it's a 35-year war, of which 25 of that has been in adulthood, or so-called when I thought I was an adult, which I wasn't. And you know, it's that fiend, it's that we've always been, artists have always dealt with trauma, and I think the issue is trauma. If you can dig deep enough and find out where this shit comes from, I think what the yoga does, you're in that mirror, and you are. It's the one analogy I can put, especially with hot yoga. You're in a 90-minute class, and if I can take that 1 minute in the middle, which has built you up to this physical movement has built you up to this point. At that point, it's a bit like you want to give up. You're done. You're like, fuck this. And I walked out of my first three. First time I ever did it. I'm like, fuck this, man. I'm fucking doing this bullshit. You know what I mean? Because I was used to pushing weights, and you know what I mean, and looking at the next guy when he's about to start his reps, and you start looking at it. It kicks in. But when you start to really look at the idea of in this room and no one gives a fuck about you, you're like, the first thing Paul Dobson said to me is, you know that guy Goldie that you see? Just can you leave him at the door when you come in?
Right. Wow.
What are you trying to say about? Oh, you mean this me? It's me. You know, there's all these other people that are like, yeah, okay. Yeah, okay. What do you want? Fucking, you want to give you an essay about I bought your music or some shit? Like, just get on with it. You're on the mat as a collective energy, focused on yourself. So of course that's a battle in itself. Like, where am I placed in the room? How am I dealing? And all you're talking to is this fucking ego. And once you start to lose that and just go through the practice, going back to the point of the center, how I feel at that point in the middle, and then you're doing the standing at the point in the middle of the standing series, and you're going back down to the floor series, which, by the way, lying on the floor, you think that's tough because your mind's playing tricks with you. That minute, if I take fast forward 44 minutes and I rewind 44 minutes, for that 1 minute in the middle, if that was a drug that I could take in a pill, I could buy it from somebody. The feeling that I have without having to do the drug to take it, and without the physical build-up to get me to this mental euphoria, if you like. Right. I'll buy that pill for $150, man, if I'm a desperate kid.
You know what I mean? That's it. That's beautiful, man. And I will say that I feel like, I remember when you started going through this process, I feel like going through yoga was probably the best thing that ever happened to you, because a lot of people, when we look at you and we listen to your music and we watch the art that you do, and we understand that, like you said, these things come from torment. A lot of artists that look up to you, like myself, come from that places too. So when you found that transition, because we knew that you found a way to help your demons work for you, in a sense, that you spoke to them and communicated them and collabed with them instead of trying to hide them. And when you went to yoga and it took another place for you to even understand what that meant, like watching that transition over the last couple of years has been really, really fantastic. So I commend you, man. Like this rebrand, so to speak, is
it's also, you know, the thing I did a couple of years where I was like, it's what I think with addiction, if anyone's honest, you deal with the reward system. You know, so I go to yoga Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Get some gear on a Friday, get shit-faced Saturday, treat myself to death Sunday, Monday sleep it off, Tuesday back in there. So there's a 2-year period where it was like, what am I fucking doing here? I've got to choose here. Right. But what happens is if when you keep going, if you just keep going, what happens is you begin at 0 as opposed to beginning at -15. Does that make sense? So I would always do, you know, touring, you know, Jane's Addiction, all this mad shit when it was at the peak. I'd be fucking, going, yo, what's up, Atlanta? And I'm in Atlantic City with the blow up doll on the stage. Like, what the fuck? I didn't even know what city I was in. So you just, it's crazy. And then you realize that the what it does, it culls the addiction. So all of a sudden it just starts kicking it out. So the actual blood changes, the purge starts happening. Like I throw up violently if I did get it was a reaction because my body was just cleaner.
Right.
And so it's like, because listen, you can drink vodka in 2 days and go do yoga and it might fuel you because it is essentially a fuel. It could drive a car. But it's when you keep this shit in your system. It's about this stuff being in your system and everything else. So there was a period of that time and it just became pretty much non-existent. I had a few big nights with the boys, managed myself. You get back on and you deal with it. But being in Asia was the power move because here was facing this golden age of what I really want. It's like who I really wanted to be. And I remember opportunities that people go, well, you're so lucky. Like opportunity and chance combined creates the luck. And believe me, I'm a fucking has-been. It's like it was so then. But what was done then, energetically, has lasted this long. So if I did it then on drugs and I was crazy, what if I do it now positively in the present now, which goes back to Miami with you, Armanni, drunk as fuck on the mic. Give me the microphone. Give me the motherfucker. What we do today creates tomorrow.
The best line ever.
You said some shit last time. Like, well, what the fuck did I say? I got a hangover. Someone give me tequila. When you said this line, I'll send you the recording. You said some shit. I'm like, that became the brand quote for Yo Gangster.
Yeah.
What we do today creates tomorrow.
Wow.
And
that was such a moment, man, because Drunk Man speaks a sober man's mind. Like, as wild as we got back in the day, in that moment, it was like the entire club got dead silent right at that moment. And you knew right there. We were like, everyone left that club like, holy shit. After all that, he just dropped a gem that resonated.
But I also think though, like the great thing about having the experience is that maintaining, the label for 25 years is 25 years this year, and the label, because there's like a 2.5 year period of Heads where we were still a dub label with Reinforced, and then we became the label with me and Scotty Ryder's Ghost, and it became this whole other thing. But it, Timeless lasting to, did what it said on the fucking tin. And of course that led to Cine Tempore, which is, Amy did that. I think he was with me in Miami when Amy did this, when Amy James had his setup. And it was always this thing about this opus, and I still think that the best work's gonna come, because I think that was a great crucible, if you like. And Cine Tempore is now a 6-part drama. And, for anyone that knows me, jokes aside, the mental trauma and P.T. Anderson, Gondry, Lahane, Magnolia, all of these films that affected me, Kez, especially as a child, having this kind of origami biopic told over 6 episodes. When the concept first happened, it was like a 3.5-hour film. Well, I'm not P.T. Anderson. And now the platforms arrive because we have Netflix and we have, Disney, and we have all these platforms that we can Shakespeareanly go through characters. And so that's been a whole other art form. We've got Dan Kadan, who wrote Rock and Roller for Richie, and he wrote, like a big chunk of Snatch, but he wasn't credited. But he's a prolific writer. And of course, my mentor, Clint Dyer, we did a B movie thing with Bowie, and Clint Dyer played this social worker opposite to me, and he's a prolific actor. He's the only black guy to act, direct, and produce, write, direct, and act at the Royal Court. And as a young black man in England, that's a big thing. He was Roy Williams' boy. Great thing on YouTube called Sus, if any of you guys are interested out there. SUS. It's a small film that was made by his mentor, where he acted in as a Rasta, based in the 70s, in the Thatcher era, of black people being stopped and searched, which is the beginning of where we're at now on a global scale. But it was like, let's stop this guy with funny hair, and how he was arrested and taken into custody for the apparent murder of his wife. won't give away the plot. But all of these great things about being here in Asia, I just got off the grid, and I needed to get off the grid, and the reset, the remake, remodel, wasn't because, you know, you look at all the new people that are coming up, and I admire all the new guys on the label that are beautiful.
Shouts to Adred.
You know, I'd read that album, you know, FaZe's album, Grey Code's album.
Grey Code.
You know, but listen, when you hear, FaZe's album, like, you know, he just took a page right out of 4 Hero. He wasn't brought up on 4 Hero. There's a track on his album, which is just, it's called Thirds. There's 2 versions that are just mind-blowing. The album itself as a concept album is mind-blowing. But then you got to look at, like, you know, there's all these other artists that are doing phenomenal. The Comic's new album is sounding ridiculous because it's George on his own, but at his best. You know, he sent me a sketch of an album 4 months ago, and it was like, and then he just went. It just, something happened. We had this great. I have a great relationship with the artists, and so things are really stronger than they've ever been. And Anthony, as a label manager, is the best label manager I've ever had. Good dude. He's straight to it. No fucking nonsense. He lives in Samui. You know, he's pretty much my neighbor in Samui, and he's back to Bangkok with his fighting, which is brilliant. And he goes to England when he needs to go to England. So the label's gone through a lot, and it's really, and I'm glad that the icon of the label, because it's not really a label. It's a melting pot of ideas. For sure. And I also think, you know, let you guys intercede, is that anyone's welcome to it, but it's the idea of, if we're going to be the motherfucking Motown in this shit, and we're going to be the integral, someone's got to do that. It's a dirty fucking job, and there's 3 of us who've been running this shit, and we're not large, but the icon itself has done. It's the wild style. It's that first graph, which inspires other people to go and do their bubble letters or their wild style, for that matter. You know, it's at its center at 4 a.m. in the morning. I'm for like 4 or 5 tunes where the new kids are like, "What? You know, we can't get our heads around this shit." Well, that's kind of what hieroglyphics are about. That's I kind of think that I'm glad that Metalheads wasn't unraveled like that. We're not going to be that soaked in commercial. We're not going to be, you know what I mean? It's not going to be that for us, and I think that's important.
Well, it's dope for me because, like, if I take my process on coming through drum and bass, and like when I first met you, and by the time I met you, understanding who you were, understanding what Metalheads was, it's kind of like that journey. Like, I came in listening to Jump Up, and this isn't putting anything in a grade or a level of sorts, but it was almost like when you were introduced to things and you find out that drum and bass is an acquired taste, and you really start expanding your palettes. All roads lead to Metalheads and Ram. It's like these are that's the stuff that is intentionally a little difficult for the normal mind to process. I tell people all the time, like, this is a thinking man's music. This isn't just for you to.
When you think about T.R.A.C, for example, you know, the journey you've had, you guys, you know, dubstep was it's massive, and still is a massive thing in the US, because it was, you know, I think about Koki and those guys, the Scream Banger, those original Nucleus. And I think, of course, it was taken by America, and actually it was just taken somewhere else completely, very quickly, because it's more accessible, and it's good. And of course, people went down a different route. But coming from the source, you know, when I look at the source of the music, that's a healthy thing for anything that, you know, from an economy point of view. You look at the impact of the music, and also, you know, obviously because of America's hip hop heritage. It was very difficult for me, even with guys in Miami, when I played with drum and bass, it was like listening to fucking, when I first heard Sun Ra, I didn't get it. Like, what the fuck's this? Like, you know, someone going, okay, so what's this Miles Davis decoy? Okay, I get this album. Not. You know, I didn't like olives as a kid, man. I fucking hated wine. You know, I like olives and I like a bit of wine. You know what I mean? It is a very acquired wild style taste, but I also think that there are those artists that pursue, you know, we had this shit, we'll go into detail with, you know, my opinion, remember guys, I'm still a motherfucking fan. I stand in front of speakers. If I go to a club and whoever's playing, I want to go and listen to what he's dropping and what mixes he's doing. Is he drawing at? Is he really drawing? And even Andy, by Andy's admission, if Andy's playing it on there, Andy will have to draw a couple of tunes for the man.
Yeah, man.
He knows it 100%. He knows. And you know, we can still play the music for the kids. That's all good. We used to bust balls on this shit. But hey, someone's got to do it. And he did it on a vast scale, like stadium. You know, motherfucking play a stadium. I remember playing EDC at fucking outside of New York and bombed with kids in Lycra and playing at 4 in the afternoon and I'm playing some gigs. And they were like, what is this? My nunchuckers can't keep up with this yet. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I can be taken out of context too. You know, my context is, you know, my last tour, which was brilliant, was, you know, small, give me small clubs because I've done the big shit. When these guys were doing stadiums, I was doing Jane's Addiction. We're doing hockey stadiums and, you know, we're doing Timeless Live and the bass player's getting fucking water chucked at him. Says, keep playing Timeless Live because these motherfucking, these Jane's Addiction fans don't like us. Keep going. You know, so we had, you know, we had all that shit. But right. I love where we're at with this. The only thing that scares me slightly is the way this pandemic and the kind of plan, the master plan, you know. I thought about it yesterday when I was cycling. Well, this morning, actually, I did 20 this morning. I'm like, people just want to go out and do a bit of dancing. Right. Just want to go and have a, even if it's with nunchuckers, each to your own, man. Just have a dance with the day glow shit and whatever, or just rock near a club in the back corner.
Right.
Kind of miss that shit, you know? Like, that's just nice. That culture is...
It's coming.
I hope it is.
In some form, it's
coming.
Definitely in some form, it's coming.
I'll let you guys jump in. So,
it's you know, there was an interview that just came out. Actually, Marcus Visionary just posted it, and it was one of Toronto's big nightclub mavens, and he said specifically nightclubs are gone, 1,000,000% until a vaccine is found, maybe. And then we're looking at like a year.
Oh no, I'm not saying
future, maybe 2.
It's not going to happen anytime soon, but it's definitely coming back. Like you know.
Well, no, for sure, but there's going to be like this crazy change because a lot of nightclubs actually probably permanently close.
Right. I think another thing that's going to go on too is you're already having promoters looking at a workaround. So inside of a nightclub might not be a good idea, and capacity is going to be shut down to a certain percent when they start opening up. But there will be workarounds that people will figure out. There's no way. If we look at sports alone, they're going to have to try to figure out. There's no way the NFL, the NBA isn't going to make their money. That's craziness.
Well, the Premiership League, same shit.
You know what I'm saying? Like it's the same thing. Like they're going to figure that out. So that's why I have faith in it. I will say this, and I'd be echoing a sentiment from a colleague of ours, a good friend of all of ours, and he specifically said at the end of the day that I lost my train of thought.
I'm waiting eagerly.
I was about to say though, just a couple of days ago, just to know where the temperature was in the States, it was pretty much a good small gathering of a lot of promoters who just pretty much just shot the shit about, yo, what are we going to do and how are we going to do it? So I think people are itching. It's just a matter of what and how and when. And honestly, until we fix our leadership, we'll be in the cloud.
Well, it's a worldwide thing, though. But go ahead.
Yeah, it is a worldwide thing, but I do think leadership plays a role. But the thing is, man,
for sure,
it's like the fucking measles. Go out there and just get it. You know, my friend's been testing positive. They've got no fucking symptoms. Just get it and be done with it. That's my thing, because I do believe that you cannot fear everyone into a corner. The planet's too fucking big.
Right.
I'm sorry.
At some point, yes, everybody will burn out.
It's like I disagree. I actually think that, you know, I think I done had it and it went. I know Kelly, my yoga partner, she had it and it went. She didn't have any symptoms and she had it. Now, okay, so that's down to health then. If your immune system does what it's supposed to do, it will fight it off. And I understand this. I'm so sorry if anyone's offended, because I lost a few friends I know in the 50s. They had breathing difficulties. They caught it. They died. GQ had it, came out. Thank God
Thank God for GQ.
But you understand, it's like, it's going to happen. It's happens in fucking 10, 11 years. We can't expect to populate this planet and then just live in fucking bubbles. When this isn't Mars yet. No. This isn't Mars yet. People want to move around. And of course, America's biggest problem is that people want to go to work, they'll get on a 2-hour flight and go to another fucking city. Right. You know, and it's this thing. In Asia, we didn't really have any cases, you know, and it's got, I forget who lays blame and all this other shit. But man, the guy you got in charge over there. Wow. I mean, wow.
What? What's
You know,
wrong?
wow.
You don't like him? I think he's.
Well, what do you know? What I
Very
think?
weird.
I think it's the Guyanese.
Oh no, it's not the guy.
Wait, watch your mouth.
You know,
The guy.
Watch your mouth.
maybe,
You
like,
outnumbered
really, you
here.
should ask.
Nah,
Maybe you
bro.
should ask those guys. Maybe you should ask
Watch
those
your mouth,
guys.
G. You know what I mean?
Wow. Do you know what I mean?
Hey.
Like, really? I mean, this guy, to have this guy in charge. We had him with this guy. He looks like the one that we've got. I don't even know this fucking name. That's how far Asia puts me. The guy who was in charge of England. What the fuck's his name? I don't even know.
Boris Johnson.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I almost think that he's the son
I got you, MJ.
of the guy from AC/DC with the shorts on. The grew up.
Oh.
You know the guy I mean from AC/DC with the shorts? It's like he had a bastard child, and that was him.
Right,
Do you know what I mean? He's got like he's got like a fucking set of teeth, like a witch doctor's necklace. I don't know. It's weird shit.
I don't know, Matt. I don't know.
Well,
I still might trade Trump for Boris any day.
I just want to stick up for the Guyanese and say
maybe.
You got out of there, man. You know, what I mean? You're in beautiful. Look.
I know. I left.
Everybody left. It's just me and it's just T.R.A.C and I left. Goldie went to Thailand. You went to Canada. It's just T.R.A.C and I sitting here fighting the coronavirus by ourselves.
So where are you now, T.R.A.C? Where are you?
I'm in Florida when this whole thing broke out.
Are you in the corridor? Where? In Florida?
In Florida.
In the
West Palm Beach. West Palm Beach side over in Florida.
Oh, look this, man. Same as Bio, my boy Tats. He just went, COVID's coming, I'm going to Florida. You know what I mean? I'm like, Nicer and BG are stuck in New York and they just painting and they've got no more paint left. It's like,
man. They canceled my flight, man. They canceled my flight and we just say, you know what? We ain't in a rush to go back anyway. So we just
Speaking of moving,
where are you, Valiant? Where are you? Val.
Val. Valiant.
I'm in rural Canada, about 2 hours away from Toronto.
Wow, Toronto, man. Talking of which, Gremlins were in Toronto.
Oh, fucking.
They just did. Now listen, fuck yeah, they just delivered the absolute roughage. The concept of roughage crew. The idea of passing me passing that final kind of like amulet. They delivered an album like last week.
Really?
Just like I mean, I've been sketching this album out with them over the last 2 years. Listen, man, this album.
Gremlins and Justa?
Yeah, it's just a ridiculous album. Ridiculous.
Yeah, those guys are sick.
Hey, so the chat is blowing up and asking me the age-old question of how you came up with the Metalhead's name.
Man, weirdly enough, it was a guy called Dan Bartlett, and Dan was a street fighter, knuckle fighter.
Oh man.
And he was always doing graphics as well with his big old burly hands. I've got this idea for a sketch, man, like, because Massive, your dog, it kind of looks like, look at your dog all the time. And Massive, if anyone, the London guys will know when I moved to London from, coming back from Florida, is it? If you squeeze his head, this pit bull like this, he looks like a magnet. And I used to squeeze his head when I came in the house. And it looked like it, and Dan had this sketch, and we tweaked it a little bit, and he went, look, to take it. I think it was like, I gave him like $200, and we did it. And I wanted it to be like it was a photocopy that I used to put on the back of dub plates from Reinforce. Because when I came to Reinforce, I kind of redesigned the logo, which is the one with the squiggles and the R.
Oh, word.
That was my original design. I cut and pasted that shit, the R, the original R. Because it used to say Reinforce with like little metal panels across on a white label. And I redid this because I was obsessed with Greek, the Greeks and the way they would do pottery, which was in blue and would be blue and white, on the pottery, and the Roman, that stuff on the aging. So I did it in black and white and did that. And then, obviously those guys never really went out. And I decided to, when we cut plates at Tubby's or Music House, I would stick it on there because I always saw plates spinning around when they were playing a Rage, and I put my hands on the cage and look at Fabio Gruad playing some shit. It's like, it's an acetate. All right, cool. No culture and all acetates from dub. And I thought, give it some ID. So once I had that ID, and I put the head on one side, and Groove Rider was on Kiss FM, and he says, I've got some metal in the bag. Yeah, Goldie, give me some metal. Reinforce some metal. Yeah, some heads up in here. And that was it. And I was like, metal heads. Yeah, put Z on the end. That's it.
Put a Z on there. That's it.
That was it. Well, it was because remember, it was about the integrity. Because when I signed to Polygram as Goldie presents Metalheads, if you look on the record, it says Metalheads with an S. Because from a legal point of view, with my lawyer, I didn't want him to have any ownership over the label. The labels were the ones. I was offered a lot of money on the label to sell the label to Polygram in the same way that what's his name? Perfecto label. Paul is in LA. Famous house DJ, UK, fucking dyslexia. Paul's label was Perfecto.
Mm-hmm.
Oakenfold. Oakie's label was
yeah.
Oakenfold. Wow.
Oakie's label was
Simon.
Sorry, Paul Oakenfold. But his label was obviously a label deal with a major, and I think with Metalheads, I was so anti-major at that time, and it was kind of like even the Timeless concept was a middle finger to A&R people, because at that time, me and Rob had made the album. I'd actually made Timeless, the 22-minute piece, and I offered it to Moving Shadow, and Rob didn't want it. He said, I don't know, and I'm like, Rob, believe me, it's gonna. I was 12 minutes into the piece. I used to drive to Stevenage every day. And I said, we want to make this piece, and it was I wanted this idea of this stretching out time, and then it would go into this inner city life, because where I've come from, and then it goes into like this revelation stuff where it's just like, because of my Rastafarian days and pressure, I want to make it sound like pressure, and we started doing all this technical stuff on the S1000s and S3000s came out just at that point. And then I wanted to go into like jazz, and then this kind of comes back to the beginning. And of course, I went to Pete Tong's office to play in this thing, and I'd already gone to like 5 other A&M, Clive Black, all these really big A&R men at the time, and of course A&R men are dead now, or they've gone to that platform like P.A.S. or Believe Digital, and he was the only guy that never flinched for the whole 21 minutes.
Interesting.
And he'd already lost out on Jazzy B in left field, and he said he wasn't going to make the same mistake again. So he signed me, and that was it. And of course, we then went when the rest of the album was piece to piece, because it was literally 7 tracks from previous things I'd already released with synthetic. So that's just kind of the basic premise of where we're at. But it's been great this year because I've been digging out. I found like this, for example. Yesterday I was digging deep in the vaults, of all this stuff. And I found another box of dats. So, I'm like, this is like the 5th box, man. This is like, shit, right? And I've got so many, like timeless instrumental short versions. Trevor Murray, which was Bjork's drummer sessions.
Jesus,
Kemi,
bro.
Blue Note, Kemi 2000, Kemi 1998. Chemistry Storm, Creamfields, Liverpool, Storm Chemistry, Pesce, Blue Note, Fabio, what's this one? Fabio Blue Note, 10th of the 11th, 97. The list goes on.
Yeah.
Photek 5, the original 7 Samurai. No title for this one. Listen to this. This is Photek 5. He says Photek 5, right? It says the 7 Samurai. No title for this yet, but it's the B-side to the track. So there's a real history here of stuff that I've been digging through, but especially I found a hybrid of Timeless, which was an 8-minute version. And a version of Sensual, which never came out on the album, it only came out in Japan. So we're re-putting out Timeless at the end of the year with the same company that did Saturn's Return. They want to do a whole big thing with that, so that's going to happen. And of course, I'm rescoring parts of the album for the series for Cine Temple.
Speak of that, because I don't know if a lot of people even know. I know, and I've been tripping on this for years now, obviously. But yo, by all means, I'm so glad you brought it up, so I didn't have to ask you. Yeah, talk about that, man. That's huge. It's huge.
Oh well, it was always this thing, when I went to Pete Tong, I said, look, give me the money, give me 500 grand to make a short film. And of course, it was Polygram Film and Polygram Music, and you don't cross-pollinate. But of course, in this day and age, it's 360 deals.
All you do.
You're working at Def Jam, right? You're working at Def Jam, right?
Yeah. I went up there for about 5 years. Yeah.
And you know now cross-pollination, the idea of giving, Wu-Tang or Beastie Boys, and then in the old days, you just give them the key, man. He's go come back in a month, and the album's gonna be done, right? And we'll get whatever we can from the tour.
God.
So of course, listen, by geography alone, England's tiny. If I would have been American and Thomas would have come out, it would have been a different thing. It's just how it is.
Just to say that though, real quick, that I want to say that Inner City Lights may have been the first drum and bass or the first jungle record I ever heard and not know that it was jungle. Solely because when I first saw it was the video, and the video used to come in a show from Ralph McDaniels called Video Music Box. And that was way before its time, even just speaking about music. And he used to run that video a lot. And I remember like, yo, what is this? This is cool how the breaks run. But I didn't know anything about, what was going on, of course, at the time. So it just...
Yeah, but it was a segue. Well, thank you for that. But I mean, it was the thing, the concept is people don't understand is that Inner City Life had to be extracted from Timeless.
Right.
It wasn't like, here's a single and then we need to make it really long. It was an opus. And in the story, because of obviously synesthesia and having a slight aspect of that, and having people dig me out because I like to draw stuff out, whether I'm using crayons or markers. I'm an old producer, and they really don't really exist anymore in that sense. Nelly Hooper was my go-to guy. He had Mateus as his engineer, and he was doing Madonna, he was doing Heaven 17 and U2, all this, stuff he was producing. And of course, the idea of conceptually writing music, it was a big thing for me. And still is the idea of doing that it was important, but more than that, the vision of Timeless was kind of the idea of, I found the notes, because it was 25 years ago when I started writing at Adorney Tower, and I went, this is a story about a boy who can change everything with aspects of time. Well, what is he, a fucking magician? You can't just like have a magician. It's like, it has to be real. And of course, the whole premise of Timeless Cine Temple now is a 6-part episode. 1 and 2 are completely done. We'll still be tweaking those things. And Dan Kadan is now on 4. My hero and mentor, Clint Dyer, who I spoke about, did 3.
Sick.
And I'm doing 5 and 6. And yesterday I spent all day, wrangling, because we have a series Bible, which you need to have a Bible to stick to, which is the producer's outline, so I'm going to make this record and it's going to be an hour long and we're going to go from here and to there and we're going to do that, then we're going to have this and that and we're going to do that. You build the legend because you have to, you have to be organized and being a concept artist, you have to have a shape. And then you see what technically is out there, what can be achieved technically. It was always questioning technology. Can this, my rack here, vintage keys, Oberheim, the ultra harmonizer DSP 4000 is still the bad boy of effects units in terms of what it can do. And I think it's great not being an engineer for me, because people just can't get a head around this. It's like the idea of, this is how I'm going to build the music, and they go, well, what are you going to do? This is the beats. What is that? You have to explain it in phonetics.
Yeah.
Everything. That's going to be the cymbal with the snare, that with the hat, go stick down on that track, duplicate that there. We'll have those effects going backwards there. We'll put that over there with the Valahanas reversing. It's, so building everything as an alchemist, which is what this is alchemy.
Totally.
Let's face it. And also, it's shit because you're not doing it yourself. Okay. Let's just erase my history. Let's erase the pyramids while we're there too. But the idea of Cine Temple, designing the soundtrack with this mentally ill child who suffers because for 18 years I was jarred on one major fucking fail on the whole series, and it was, I kept his mother alive and I had to kill her really early on because it couldn't coexist with other characters. But what was great about the idea was the device, which was a real problem. It was temporal lobe dysfunction. Found it. And it's real. I looked it up and I was like, what the fuck, really? Okay. And it's like temporal lobe dysfunction. Oh my God, it's the type of epilepsy and it's the inability to process episodic memory. Great, there's my device. I can go back and forth in time with the said character. Epic. So I built this now, and we're there, and there was some big talk, real big talk with a massive production company who are really out there in the market, and we are in such a great position because when this does clear, which this will pass
for sure.
We're ready to step up and deal with that. And what's great about it is obviously through the eyes of a child. Because there's nothing wrong when guys have got to shot gear, man. They've got to sell drugs. That's what they got to do. But when you stick it down my throat 18 times, the word shotting food or selling drugs, like, yeah, it's like buying a packet of crisps for me. Why are you making a big deal about it? It's like, we're looking beyond the mental illness. And beyond that kind of surface. That's inner city life. But that's not timeless. Timeless is the magic of it, of how to make it's a very Shakespearean time. It's actually 3 stories
wrapped
into one.
Yeah.
It's a crime thriller with the murder of the kid's best friend. It is a story of his mental illness and how he overcomes the nemesis by design. And it's a tragic love story. And that is me in a nutshell of how this was built. So yeah, it's been a brilliant process, because going back to the point of the soundtrack, I've never seen an urban series where I'm really happy with the music, because usually needle drop music, I think Track will know about this more than anyone. You got to go and get music from somebody, and you got to go to a rapper that's you paid a lot of money for,
right?
And the record company wants a lot of money to license that record in that film because they got to get their money back.
That's right, absolutely. And
so you can shed some light on that.
Soundtracks. It's hard to do that because soundtracks are so patchwork. You know what's funny about this whole situation is, like, I've been excited. I'm so glad that you're revealing this now, but I've watched you on this trajectory of outside. This isn't the first TV thing you've worked on, not just being on TV with things with Maestro, but even the evolution to get to that point when you had the documentary series that showed you learning how to write music.
Oh shit! Yeah, that was
that was mind blowing to me. Even you mentioned it earlier how you drew things out.
What the fuck was it called? It was 2-part BBC, 2-part
series of BBC. What the hell was it called?
What's it called?
I should have wrote that down. It just popped in my memory.
Classic Goldie.
Classic Goldie. There you go. That's what it was.
Yeah, that's interesting because people can't get their head around, well, what's in the chord? We're talking about the notes in the chord. The idea is made up of a set of notes. And I was just about to lose my shit because, I think it was Anna Meredith, who's a prolific, composer in that world. But just going to that world, being berated by people going, he doesn't know what he's doing. He doesn't know what forte messe is. Well, you fucking tell me what fucking forte messe is.
Not just that.
Don't hurt your dads yet. Don't hurt the dads, please.
What was really cool too? What was really cool was watching you at that breaking point, and the point where like you had to find. I talked to a friend a long time ago about how I was trying to learn After Effects and how it was the same thing as making music, and we were having a discussion about how the how difficult After Effects was. When I was saying it's technically just tools to being used. If you can make video, you can make music. There's the part of the brain that helps you create things. You just need the tools to do so. So once you learn those things, it's the same. And watching you in that documentary while you were literally drawing out the music, not in musical note form, but in your artistic way, it was a piece of artwork that I know you have hidden somewhere. But
I have it. Yeah, the legend. Yeah, it's a big piece.
It's a long piece of music. You created an entire piece visually first.
There was actually a debate, but you see, if you can, I think the idea of what do I want to achieve? What's my end game with this 6-part series? With the production company, we'll then go and deal with the broadcaster. Now, this is my thing. I'm in the same way that the music heals people. I could be at the cheese counter, motherfucker, and I had an old woman and an old man come to me and go, "Oh, Goldie, that was just beautiful what you did with Carmina Burana." I'm like, Carmina Burana, oh, the cheese? No, that's Eden. That's Edenvale. No, when you did the conducting. Well, yeah, a monkey essentially can go up on a podium and conduct. No, but hear me out. When you learn what that is, the very speed to the techniques deck, So if I have to keep it at this certain speed. Now it's in 4/4, so I'm going to be getting this in 4/4. Okay, now I can do that with my own music, but when I have to learn, Beethoven is a great example, man.
Yes.
Mixed race. Let's just go on, guys. Get really start going. How dare you? He's mixed race. His mother was a Moor. Okay, I'll put it out there. Yeah, of frozen hair, of frizziness, of flattened face. He was all the things that I spoke about and written about Beethoven. He was mixed race. Why was his music so complicated? Because he didn't want anyone to play it. You motherfuckers. He wrote all the notes, and the way that he writes the notes, he literally, if you look at his fifth, when you look at the score, it's like 2-2-2, 6, 2-2-2, 6. He literally knocked the deck, so it went on the off in the mix, and then he knocked it back in the mix. The guy did shit with his music because he thought, you criticize me, you criticize my compositions. All right, let me see if you can fucking play them then. And he made it really difficult to play. And if you want to bear some future relevance to that, seriously, then you got to look at you got to look at, certain aspects. For me, when you look at Below the Underdog, which was the story of, it's a story, there goes my dyslexia, bass player, but he was a composer. And
bass player, composer, bass player.
Somebody Google it real quick. Beneath the Underdog, Below the Underdog, documentary, a beautiful documentary. And one of my not Coltrane, bass player. There we go.
Mingus.
I almost said
Mingus. Yeah, that's what I thought.
Okay, so Mingus
Playing the Google game live, ladies and gentlemen.
There is a documentary. Listen to this, guys. There's a documentary by Mingus where he was taken out of his flat in Brooklyn with a wheelbarrow, with all of his compositions stacked up, evicted from his home. The paparazzis are photographing him with flash bulbs, the old-fashioned style, because he couldn't pay his rent. And when Winston Marsalis in the same documentary said, look at this fucking score, man. He had an opus that he put together, and he had different people writing different sections, but he told them, like the legend, what he needs to have happen in this section. And he had all these different people doing it at the same time, and he couldn't get it together. It was like some guys failed. He went and he smashed the guy in the mouth. They turned up for rehearsals. He was fucking, raiding, and he was beating people up. It never happened. His wife and his lover, sitting side by side as friends as they are now. God bless them. I don't know if they might be dead now. I don't know. And you had Winston Marsalis talking about what an inspiration, and that you couldn't reach those notes back then to do that.
Wow.
And so the point of what I'm trying to make is that he was a reviled, he was a bass player, but he was a revered composer. I mean, serious composer. Same as Miles Davis, a serious composer. I was always inspired by those people. I can't read music.
Right.
No,
If you can verbalize it, whether it's if you can verbalize it by doesn't fucking matter. That guy can print it and he can put it into fucking notes. What do you want? Brownie points for writing the note? A badge? What is your end game here? What are you trying to say? Because you can sit on your computer and you go, but I programmed it all. I did it all. Yeah, well, what are you doing with the all? What are you going to do with your final? So show me your track record. Show me your own composition that you've done in the little thing. That classic program taught me. Oh my God! When I go back to DJing, we're just pushing buttons, motherfuckers.
Bro, you want to? It's fun. We're gonna laugh. I promise you, your DJing mixing skills improved immensely after that.
Immensely.
Not that you
I
weren't
was like,
bad.
what the fuck?
It was night and day. Like night and day.
I'm not banging anymore.
I'm your boy. I can say what I want to say. It was night and day. Like I was like, holy shit. He leveled up.
Let me speak over this part because Goldie's gonna fuck it up now. He's had a little bit too much alcohol. Yo, what's up with yo? Big shots. What the fuck?
And he got cocky about it too. You started doing the playing it and walking away. Like he'd leave and go to the bathroom while it's still mixing. Like it's just like. Man.
Hey, listen. He would listen to Armanni seriously. The last time we were together, it's night and day. I remember with Armanni, seriously, where he'd be like, G, do me a favor. I'm like, what? Look, everyone's at the room. Get out the fucking room. All right, you G, do me a favor, man. Can you hold off on the blow before you relax? I mean, what are you saying, man? Like, what? Yeah, okay. Bro. Yeah, are we on now? Are we on now? So going back to the point, you know, my whole psychological shit, because that's what it was, you know, the pressure of playing. I'm not a fucking DJ. Scotty knows me and Scotty laugh about it all the time. Oh, fuck off with that same old trick, you know. But they're DJs to me. It's like the idea of, you know, I had this other kid going, how dare you call this guy a god? Guy, I'm a fucking fan, you idiot. You just wind your fucking neck in. You know, I'm a fan of the music, and this music affected me in the club, week in, week out. Week out. The idea of going back to the composition point to finish, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because, you know, I just started speaking to Robin Smith, who played all the original chords on Timeless. But the idea of me getting you got electric piano as well as a normal piano? Yeah, can we wire it up so I can get the MIDI? What do you want the MIDI for? So I can take the MIDI and I can put it into vintage keys, and then I can put it into the Oberheim and track it, and then make other stuff with Alchemy. It's all part of the process of what this is.
Amen.
Well, the thing is people never give solo artists shit for collaborating on music in any way. If it comes out on any other genre, if the solo artist puts out an album full of music and that music is a result of collaboration, people never say anything negative about that. It's weird when it comes to dance music, when it comes to electronic music. There is a double standard that comes with that. It's
I don't mind that. I don't mind it because the track record is the track record. And you know what? I actually don't give a monkeys. The bottom line is that the art yesterday, I finished the painting. Right. You know, yesterday I got through a very difficult scene 7 and 8. Within I've got a timeline issue. You know, is this person going to change the way that's going to happen today with me? No, absolutely not. It's not going to change anything. In fact, it's embarrassingly good because back then, when it was me against the world, when it was the poster boy, it fueled me. Please, by all means, put some more motherfucking hate on it, man, because I'm just going to keep coming because I just this thing is art. It comes through me. It's nothing. I'm not the guy, guys. It's just coming through this thing. You know, that's the art, right?
You're bringing up art and you're bringing up painting. You mind if I segue real quick? Because I know we got somewhat limited time, but for me, I actually knew who you were long before drum and bass because I dabbled in graffiti, and I was like always an art kid, and so I want to know how you got to graffiti to begin with, and I don't know. I can basically like how those tenets of your artistic life might still exist. How are those things like still in you?
Well, you know, we came here in about 2 years ago. I'll reverse engineer it. You know, I went to the Bronx with, you know, I went to started the Shaw Theatre. I met Bambaataa in the Shaw Theatre in London with the
My man Dizaz says, what's up too, Goldie? Dizaz wanted me to give you a shout.
Yeah, shout out everybody.
That's my boy for a long time, man.
Man. It was just in London. He was at the Liverpool gig with me and Qualib. And that was amazing. And, you know, I came from that world and I was in New York in the late 80s. And you know, I was taken up by Tats with Brim and Bio and Nicer and PG. And that's my boys, Tats Crew for life. I became,
Tats.
You know,
shouts to Tats.
I became part of Tats. And then, of course, when I jumped off into music, Howard Nosum came up. You know, got Totem, who's insanely good. You know, so all my boys. And what happened was I just became this thing where, I got into the graffiti and looking wild style and all the whole thing. And I was just at Henry's beautiful thing in the Bronx, which was the Bronx versus the Transit Authority. It was an amazing exhibition. I just finished the Sky Arts documentary, which starts in New York. We're painting Miami at the Wynwood with the guys, with Tats. It's like get-together. It's like we were together yesterday. It's like when I'm with Armanni, we're in New York. It's like I was with him yesterday. You know, we just take off where we're at. And so it's always been, they're the same fucking thing. Graffiti, they're the same thing. Right. My music would not be the same. The intricacy of the music would not be the same without graffiti. There's no shadow of a fucking doubt. That is a given. because it's part of it. It's part of the I'm seasonal like that. Like I'm painting, not painting now. I just had a fucking manicure, believe it or not. I got my feet did like yesterday and I was covered. I just, we have a gallery now in Bangkok. It's called Aurum Gallery. I built a full-size fascia, 3 foot off the wall, R33 in fucking steel, which you'll be painting. I've got like Berlin, Saturno,
for those
OD,
who don't know, a train in New York.
Bio. It's a full gallery, 2 big warehouse spaces. It's like a museum. I wanted it to be like a museum so people can go in there, sit the fuck on a bench like they're at the Tate, and look at some immense pieces of work. Because when I look at Mayor, from Star Wars, Mayor, we became friends. I just interviewed Mayor at the Graffiti Museum in Miami. I'm going to be doing that on the 24th with Mayor. That's next week. We're doing that with Mayor. It was Henry Chalfon, Henry, my boy, last week.
He just brought up his name too, Henry Chalfon. Just as saying, that's where we met.
Oh man, that's Henry's just turned fucking 80. Him, Martha Cooper, and James Bringoff put a big spotlight on this thing, which they said was bad Koch. This is bad for New York.
The Koch,
erase this shit. 70 million of taxpayers' money to erase graffiti, and now the world and the art form reigns supreme.
Right.
Yep.
So about that thing you're trying to erase, that's culture. You cannot stop it. It adjusts. So going back to you, Valiant, the whole idea with it's the same thing for me. It's life and death for me. It's the whole idea of the art. So having a gallery as a curator, but as an artist, we've got from like bubblegum to like, Pam Glue to like, Mode, who I'm, fanatical about Mode's hand drawings, the hand of fucking Da Vinci, this motherfucker, to Bio, it's just all of these guys have, prolific art. When you look at these guys now, you look at what Berlin's doing, it's just insanely good. Saturno is turning it up. And on a vast scale, you look at James Burrows, man, Gable Ends, and look at Cobra's art. It's just phenomenal how this dirty thing, like dirty drum and bass music under the stairs, the uncle that you didn't want at the party, that hip hop shit, that dirty hip hop just created all of this stuff. We need anesthetizing with music and sound, lyricism, poetry, and the arts. If you remove that from this culture, let's take away all graph, every single bit of it. With this COVID shit now, that's a really gray interior you're looking at, man.
Yeah.
Talk about it.
And soundless bullshit, pop music generated bullshit without all that stuff that's influenced by that. So I'm a big, strong defender of the arts. So the documentary comes out in the fall. I don't know what it's fucking called yet. And it's kind of like starts in New York where I began and ends in New York where I began with the boys in Miami. And it's a T.A.C reunion, which is great. And everything in between is 3D for Massive Attack, Mode. And I actually refused. They sent me the VOs and I just watched the first draft and they decided to edit out Mode. And I'm like, if you take Mode out of this documentary, I will fuck you so hard. And then, I got the email, like, I was 2 weeks, I went dead silent on him. And I'm like, within 2 weeks, he was like, yeah, we see, because they didn't see the point. They didn't understand that fundamental thing that drum and bass at 4 a.m. will still be misunderstood by the masses and not understood. In the same way that graffiti at its finite wild style won't be deciphered by you guys. And you know what? I've realized that's great.
It is.
It's absolutely.
It's
actually the best part.
Because we can do bubble letters and they go, oh my God, this piece is so exciting. This piece, it's so, oh my God, have you seen this piece? It's so beautiful. I want to buy that because I want a piece of that. I'm in awe of this piece. Yeah, go ahead, you buy that, but you're not gonna want this wild style piece. I'll tell you that for sure. So that's we graffiti writers and we people, you guys who can spit, and of course, please don't call me a rapper ever again, anyone. I want to take this rapper on. Wow. Okay. Yeah, sure with that. But the idea that when you go to, I know people that have been trained in the arts, like Tony Cogdell. She's one of the artists I spotted. Gary, my partner, spotted her. she's fucking phenomenal from Bristol, really unbelievable contemporary artist. I'm like, this just snatched the whole lot because, you know, her art, there's so much value in that in sense of a new artist. And I look at it and I'm like, I need an aesthetic too, you know? I can't just look at my shit. I don't listen to my music. I make the music as a therapeutical process in the same way. It's not the painting that's the thing for me. Okay, I can look at it and go, but it's the feeling, it's the Freudian feeling of what I was thinking at the time. It's like smelling your grandma's cake. You know, it's like,
Yeah,
it's like you don't
absolutely.
get that thing as a kid, like at the first Philly blunt or,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? Where I'm going with this is the thing, right?
Right.
It feels
No,
like
that's
5
interesting.
minutes is a movie to me when I listen to my own. Like today was probably the first day in a while that I actually listened to some of my own stuff while exercising. It was so much into it that I got like another half an hour more into the elliptical.
It's not your music anymore.
No.
Exactly.
Once it's done, it's
If you
gone.
make your music, and this is another quote, Marty, but I did this when I was sober, by the way. This one came out completely sober. A truthful idea will last in the honesty of time.
Amen.
Why is it so quiet right now?
You gotta
No,
let
but
that,
you
you
know
gotta
what
let
I
that
mean?
marinate.
That is
Don't worry
really-
about it.
You gotta let that marinate,
Yeah,
bro.
fuck it, G, whatever. You know what I mean? I'll bring my crayons next time. But you know, I'm really glad to have the opportunity to speak to you guys.
love
If
you,
there's
man.
anything else you guys want to fill in with.
Actually, I want to. We've done the transition of where you've come from, where you are now, why you're in Thailand, not just there for the beauty and the yoga, the opening the art gallery. I wanted to play 2 pieces of music from you before you go, because it just has to be done. There is people who want to know how you got into acting, but I kind of feel like that's the same answer
Wasn't
you
that
would.
big part bullshit, yeah.
Well, no, just not just that, but I feel
I'm
like
gonna
it's the
listen. I'm
same
gonna direct.
application.
I'm directing 1 and 2 at Cine Temple, and that's all I want to do. Me being a director has been the thing, right? You know, my boys are writing, and I'm writing with them as a collaborative thing. Because the way that I did that when I finish off this, I wrote a 177-page manuscript, which was completely everywhere. It was like 2 packs of cards all shuffled, but it was all recorded dialogue of all the characters having conversations with themselves. So there's a lot of time I did spend on my own in rooms where my wife was like, he's talking to himself again. And that's the process. It's like when I'm making music, if I'm getting ready to do an album, I've got folders full of sound recorded. So I had to do that. Now, when we made the series Bible, when I flew the guys into Thailand, uncannily, or was it, I know that the alchemy that goes there, and there, and there, and there, and there, and there, and there. It all fits where it's supposed to be, because that's the alchemist in me, right? So the point of these 2 tracks, especially the first track you're going to play, which I hope is the old one. You know, when I first went to New York and I was staying at the Grand, I heard this record on WBLS. I'm like, who is this? What the fuck? What is this record? And it was the idea of the plight almost. When you think about where we are now, 25 later, well, it's 30 years later, right?
Yeah,
'Cause it's
30-some
30
years, yeah.
fucking years.
Yeah.
When I think about the first opening line of when he says this whole thing, you know, and it was, and I'm not going to give it away. That first fucking thing that he says, go with it, man. Just go with it.
Hold on. Now we have to. There's a situation here, and it's not an audio problem like there normally is, ladies and gentlemen. I know that's what you want to laugh at. The first track you sent me, I don't know if I can play without them blocking the stream.
Oh snap! Really? They block it.
Yeah, they're on it too. They're super on it. So I can only
shit.
play. I picked a tune from the Journeyman, and I also have the tune you sent me that I'm not going to say yet because I know specific people in the chat are waiting for it. So
we got to try, baby.
Well, I'd say, no, you don't have to try. I get it. But you know, guys, you know what I was going to play? I'll tell you what it was. It was the Grand.
Tell them. I'm super sad that I can't play it, but if I don't. The last thing I want is
Sign of the Times, Prince.
Yeah.
When I first heard that record, Sign of the Times, Prince, and I was in New York. It felt so. I was in this alien fucking land I'd never been to. It was New York. It was fucking overwhelming. And it was, you know, the idea of, you know, he started off on weed, and, you know, now he's on high on horse, toting a machine gun. The whole idea of lyrically what Prince fucking brought in his A game of writing was like, it was just Sign of the Times, and how the pressure of it was almost like the first cracks, and how like when you look at White Lines, you know. and he just broke away, and it was
Yeah.
just, that's the beginning of the end for all of this shit, but also new transformation
CT.
where we're at now. And I guess the second one is
Do you want to just jump right into the second one? I picked one.
second one.
I picked one off that you can talk about off the Journeyman CD, which
was an amazing album, of course.
Okay,
Yes.
like if I'm gonna like super get into it, I can get super emo on the entire album, from the moment you teased some of it to me behind closed doors, to the moment you dropped it, to the album artwork, to everything that went into the conception of this album. There were certain tunes on there that aren't even drum and bass that I felt explained you and your journey more than people even realize. I was so happy that you took those risks for a drum and bass album, especially someone like you who's expected when you're making a drum and bass album to be drum and bass, nothing else. And you were like, fuck that, I'm gonna do what I want. and like, so this tune specifically, you even did a video for. The second I heard it hit me, took me to a place I've loved it. I play it regularly. No, not that one. Castaway.
Okay, there you go.
Castaway?
Oh shit, Castaway. Why?
Yeah. So I'm gonna play that real quick, and we're gonna rock out for that. By the way, you can talk and chat. They can still hear you while it's going on. You guys won't be able to hear it as much unless you have Twitch on. If you want to put on Twitch and then mute your screen, you can hear it, so you can vibe out with us. But this is Castaway.
We'll talk about it after.
By Goldie from the Journeyman album, and we'll play that since we can't play Prince.
A few moments later.
Stop. All right, hold.
There you go. Well, I was a bit surprised, but yeah, I mean, it was written for. I read it for Tyler to have that kind of old school nostalgia. You know what going to New York was like for me, and especially that sample. Oh God, what was the original sample? But replaying the sample backwards and interacting it as a backing vocal, so to speak.
Oh man.
And acting on that, so it's very clever. It's a very if you're into looping and the way that programming is from an alchemist point of view, James was like, because there's no one can touch James. He's the most incredible engineer I've ever worked with. Every concept he understands, and that's why we made a partnership with Subjective. Subjective, that was the beginning of Subjective. I'm like, well, hang on a minute. I told him at the very beginning of Journeyman, this is not to be questioned. Any concept is not to be questioned. We do it. And I started with Prism, the hardest technical track, along with Triangle. And he nailed it. And then I pulled out a few programs that I'd had for 15 years that no one could manage to automate. And he took him 3 days. He got it. In 2 days, he got it. And this relationship of supreme engineer, but producer in his own right, from what he'd done with Ulterior Motive. And that collab aspect, I'd never given up any space for collab because it was, I'm going to write everything. If you want to go play fucking Dumb Down, you can play Dumb Down, but this is how it's going to go down. I'm going to sing the fucking beat to you. This is how it's going to be. That's the whole thing with Journeyman, of being exactly what it needs to be, because it was that golden age album. It's not timeless, you idiots. Listen to it in 5 years. Come back to it in 5 or 10. When your mind is seasoned. And that's an album of enlightenment. And an album, Mountains is about addiction. You get to the top of the mountain, there's another motherfucking mountain. Right. You look at the whole idea of the monks passing the key around and trying to find the key, which is a musical key, but it's actually a key to unlock the musical notes. So it's a very complex thing, that. But it's probably the best album since Timeless for me. Absolutely. On a Parallax point of view, it's the sister album.
For sure.
It's the sister album to a gnarly young coming of age album, which is Timeless, to a sistering.
They fit pretty close together, man. They do fit pretty close together.
As a blueprint, when you end the first CD, if you ever bought the CD, there is a hidden track that only one person's ever found still to this day. One person came to me and went, I found this track.
Oh, I know.
I'm like, how you found the track? Well, you can't find it.
I'm surprised no one else has. I'm like,
but
wait,
if you
what?
want the CD, it's there. You can find this track. It's on there. And
I love hidden tracks.
Well, it's there, and the process. So the process of that album, James came out flying colors. But you listen to Run, Run, Run. Now that motherfucker right there, that's opera for me right there. That is black impressionism of my life in opera right there. And and that album in that sense was that, and it was you know, to play that album live at Ronnie Scott's Jazz Club.
Oh.
And we did, you know, I've done 2 years running with that show, 8 shows, 2 shows a night, you know, with the people that played in that room, and I'm playing percussion and BVs. So going out to my geek guy, fuck you, and Ronnie Scott's, you know, to play Ronnie Scott's with the band, and also the South Bank with the full orchestra, and do that. The idea of, you know, people hating on the keyboards don't exist in that real world of music, my friend. It exists when you can transfer this into real music that can be bought by people to lament, to heal them. If it ends up just in your hard drive, then you've achieved nothing. And I believe you should sell all of your belongings that you own, sell them for money, and then give that money to COVID, because that will probably be as much as you're going to do. The idea of what, you know, this is, you know, money, it's a personal joke. The idea of that album was a healing process, and my beautiful wife, my muse, you know, it's been fueled by Mika and Coco, man, you know, and having Coco at the end, you know, when I listen to Coco at the end of records, and I hear when she's now 8, and I did the same with Jamie. Jamie's voice is in the middle of Sea of Tears. You know, what are we doing here? Washing away the tears. He's doing double life for fucking murder. You know, that was a young boy who had this opportunity. You know what I'm saying? So don't fucking come at me with bullshit about production when it comes to music, because this is tapestry and art. And it matters to me, this outcome, is that when somebody at the cheese counter says to me, and I think they're going to ask me about something, and I go, that record, man. You know, my mom died. The record healed me. Thank you. And I was with Armanni when I went and I played the VIP of Mother after Mom died, and I was in New York, and I did a gig with Armanni. I backed down from a fight in Lids in 42nd Street. Remember that story?
Lids.
Wow.
Lids. I was in Lids. Listen, I got up. Mom died. I left her on the slab. Mom had died. I left her on the slab. I got to New York. It was, do you cancel a tour? You don't. My brother's like, you know, you can't leave, man. I'm like, that's not fucking her, man. That's a corpse. It's like, it's a shell. And I went to America real quick. Go to New York. I'm sleeping over, ready to go to red eye to LA. I wake up at 4 in. I phone the reception. Oh, listen, any train's going to 42nd Street, but they're on. You can get the L train, go across, get the train. Right. I packed my shit up. I got a flight at like 12, and I'm like, fuck this. I get my suitcase. I get my flip-flops. I get the train at fucking 4 a.m. I get to 42nd. I walk like 10 blocks, and I go to yoga. I'm sitting outside waiting for this motherfucker to open. And Geraldo turns up. What are you doing here, man? I'm like, got to get on the mat, man. Go upstairs, switches the lights on. I go in there, break down in the fucking yoga studio, man. Like, what the fuck happened? My mom died. Fuck. Hugged it out. Got in there. Best thing I ever did. Got out of there, and I'm walking, and I go into Lids to try a hat, and this guy just bumps past me. And then I'm like, what the fuck, man? What are you doing, man? He's like, what, you want some of this? Huh?
Yeah.
Boston's finest. I'm like, all right. I come outside with my bag, and this motherfucker follows me out. He's like, come on, man, put him up, man. I'm like, all right, okay. All right, I got my flip-flops on. I just put my wheelie bag back on the wall, and I went, come on, man, come on. And he starts wailing in, this guy, wailing.
He ain't waste no time.
I'm like, that didn't hurt. That didn't hurt. And I'm like, go on, get the shit out. And I'm just pushing this guy off, comes back, pushing him off, weighing me in this guy. And I'm, in the end, he's like this. You got nothing left. And he just walks off. And I'm like, you done now? I fucking get on the train. I'm fucking swelling up like a fucking radiator.
Oh, man.
And I'm feeling like, you know what? I'm like, that felt so fucking good. You know? And he was like, because I didn't respond to it. And I just went, you know what? I just think I needed to beat the shit out of me, you know? And there you go. So that's the whole point with the album. It was the end of an era. Letting go of Mom, letting go of Mother, letting go of Saturn's Return, that very difficult album, served its purpose when Mother died. I went back, played her Mother while she's dead in the coffin, in the chapel. I got straight back, drove straight to the Midlands, put Mother on, got to the Chapel of Rest, put the headphones on. The guy says, I was expecting you, Goldie, my local accent. Do you want a cup of tea? Give me a cup of tea. I walked in, 6 doors. She's door number 5. Went in, opened the doors, did what she asked, put Mother on, and just looked at this fucking marble monkey covered in fucking shrink wrap. Played Mother, and that's the end of Mother. That's it, boys. There you go.
To the return.
So, that's it.
Look, yeah, I remember that entire weekend, man, from New York to LA to San Diego. Like that whole trip was wild. And
can we get up now? Can we be up now?
Yeah. So here's something for you.
Wake up, night.
We'll take it back. We'll have a little before I play this last tune. We'll have a flashback real quick. There's someone in the chat right now who said the first time he remembers us linking up was at the 5 spot in Philly. And before we talk about that moment, that person is Henry from Substitution. So he is in the chat and wanted to say hi.
Henry.
Capo. Henry from way back, man.
Another suitcase.
There is another suitcase in here. Somewhere in here is that very recording from that night.
Fuck off. All right, so here's what's crazy. I don't even know that. so
Listen, I'm going to tell you something straight up. Look at this. You see this? The case is decomposing.
Wow.
It's pinching off.
That's how old shit is, right? So I got to exit this case very, very
So
shortly.
he said that was the moment he figured out what you were all about. So let me give everyone a quick, because we've all MC'd, had the pleasure to MC for Goldie. So
Yep.
I was in Miami.
You mean covering my clanging?
No. I was in Miami. Before you even get to that, I was in Miami, and it was one of those weekends where, like, everywhere I went, Henry tried to get me on the mic, and everyone was like, no, fuck off, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, it's cool. I'll wait my turn. And then randomly, we go to the Metalheads party, my first Metalheads party ever, right? And as we're walking in, they say, Rage can't make it. Can you get on stage with Goldie?
What year was this?
I was like,
oh shit, that was the spiral staircase up. And you ran
you
up like,
Armanni he loves to tell me like I'm his little puppy. Go ahead, fine, tell the story.
He did this thing. I'm DJing here, and he runs up the steps here, like not pretending not to see me. He runs up the steps, going, looking at the crowd, and he went, "Hey." And I'm like, what, you coming on or what?
So what's funny is because like at that point now I know what Metalheads is. I know who this dude is. And they're like literally the club's fucking packed. And I've been there all night. So it's been going off the entire night. And now the Don himself is about to go on there like, yo, why don't you hop on the mic? And I'm like,
Get on the mic, man.
So he goes up there, walks past me, he's like, yeah, come on. And I'm like, all right. So he goes up there and I walk up the steps and I'm like, fuck. And I'm like, cool. And he's like, yeah, come on. And I was literally, I walked up to him and go, okay, so I'm not going to rap too much because I don't want to, you know what I'm saying, fuck your shit up. And he was like, nah, fuck that. Like, get on here, do what you got to do. And we fucking rocked it, and it was great. And then the very next time I saw him was in Philly 5 spot. And that was the moment. And I'll tell you, not only was the entire set fucking crazy, but that was the night you rewound Long Road like 15 times. And I was taken to like a completely different stratosphere of things. And when that show was over, you walked up to me after the club and said, I'm going to take you on tour. And I said, you're a fucking liar. I'll talk to you later. And you were like, nah, I'm dead serious. We're going to go on tour and the rest is fucking history. So,
and the rest is history. We've had some fucking great tours. For you guys out there, I've been gassing a lot, man. Full to the fire. I don't give. I only
fucking poster back there, man. Is full.
Yeah,
of nothing
I know. But we did some. We did some shit. Like we even did a gig. I'll get to that coup de grace. Some of the gigs we've done. There's been some up. There's been some lows and some real highs.
There's been dogs.
And I remember finishing a tour and leaving 10 G's. 10 G's. That was a big money in the back in the day, right? This is like 10 G's in the bag with the laptop after waiting in the car park. I mean, you know, you put the trolley and you put it all in the back of the car. Right. I left. It's the last gig, and I've collected 10 motherfucking G's.
When we carried cash around for everything.
We carried a lot of cash. I've been sending cash back.
Goldie's been blaming me for losing 10 grand for the last 10 years, yo. I had nothing to do with that.
We were finishing in Philly.
Last gig on the tour in Philly. It was like long tour. We finally came home, finished it. This motherfucker loses 10 grand in the airport and blames it on me, and he's been literally getting this shit.
It was like the most depressing gig ever.
Everyone had a blast. But in the back of our head, we were like, "Damn."
Were you there when I fucked up the Black Eyed Peas drummer guy? He was drumming over.
Thank you, Mason. Mason's in the chat verifying my shit right now. Thank you, Mason.
Yeah, that was so crazy.
What? One of the Black Eyed Peas dudes got beat up.
One of the drummer at the time was trying to fucking rehearse, do a sound check while I'm DJing, and it was at the San Francisco 49ers space where they were doing stuff around the raves and the grounds.
Where was that?
And I was playing a Dillinja track, and it was the time when Fast Car came out of some shit. And I was playing some Dillinja and playing this. Oh, you get this fucking. I get these. I mean, I clang at best of times, but I mean, this shit was way out. This fucking drummer guy is fucking just sound checking. I'm like, yo, I'm fucking playing him. Well, you want some of this? I'm like, yeah, fucking off the stage. So I flew the fuck off the stage, and that was that.
If people knew how many times you and I got in fights in Chicago and Seattle after a gig.
I can't
Yo,
look at
we
chicken
drank
and bacon.
vodka like it was water.
Oh, God, yes.
It was just like...
This just froze.
I don't want to talk about that.
No, but vodka, of course, was always my vice. You know, I could do...
Sure.
I could tell you where it ended, but you know, I could do a bottle, no problem, no mixers. Can't have any mixers.
Jesus.
Can't have mixers.
No, we drank short.
Yeah, I could do it. I mean, it's not a mythical thing. I'm not proud of it.
No.
But not at all. But the was meant to be chased like an April to come at the same time.
Right.
We are now. Let's go. But you know, I can't look at chicken and bacon in the same way because we remember getting picked up. We got picked up in South Kakalaka.
We're not
in South
doing
Carolina.
fucking inside jokes.
And this guy was like so nervous. Like,
He's
yo,
not
man.
some guy. He did a fantastic documentary. Shout out to fucking...
Okay, was it Proto? Who was it?
Yeah,
Who
it was
guy?
Proto.
I see him recently in the Amon thing. I get it, but he was young then. Proto, if you're out there, you did kind of lay it on a big stick with the chicken and wrapped the bacon shit.
Epic gig.
He's like, yo, man, I got to get you the best chicken. It's wrapped in bacon.
Well, what was funny is, and I'm gonna put him on the spot. He's gonna fucking hate us so much. He's fucking great, but I love him to death. Just so let's preface this with he's a super dope dude. He's doing a super dope documentary. He comes down all the time. He's a fucking awesome guy. But when he did the gig, we're fucking hungover. Like, the gig was amazing. We're fucking super hungover, right? So he's taking us to the airport. And G and I are sitting in the back seat while he's talking. We're driving. And we're like, yo, I feel like we've been driving for a long ass time. And he's like, yo, I'm just going to stop by the mall real quick and grab a gold pen so you can sign my record. I'm like, you drove us an hour out of the way.
I went the fuck out of there. Get to the
like, you come back here. We're going to get you chicken wrapped in bacon. We were like, what the fuck? Like, what are you talking about? Anyway, I love him.
Yeah.
So,
what was the best? Seattle was crazy.
Seattle
music box
is a special place for us.
That's a special place for us.
Chicago.
Remember Chicago when I came back and played you I think I played you Saturn's Return. It was so depressing. You want to kill yourself. Remember that? One of those albums I played you was like fucking you sitting there like.
Chicago was the first time you handed me your autobiography when we first started. And you were like, I was pressing you. I was like, yo, like I need, and you were like, you want to know everything about me? Here, read this.
Yeah, but that was kind of like
when Storm was around.
That was the first biography. Yeah, but that was the first biography. That's how big your dick is and who you fuck. That's not a biography. That's like a fuck ruler. The second one, which was the one that I wrote here, for all of you out there, All Things Remembered. That's a good book. That's a good book because it's through the eyes of the kid. But look, man, it's been really emotional.
Yeah, let's play this tune because we go down
I'll tell you about the kid after. Play the tune.
So
what's the name of this tune?
This tune.
It's the Mirrored River, and he's a kid who Spencer Warren. He goes by the name of Grey Code. 22, 23. He's 23 now. He comes with Bram. Bram and him are they're like both running in the Parallax, and they're friends. Bram's from Belgium. Grey Code's doing his album. He's got a whole bunch of new followers. This kid,
he's got
as far as
two,
being a producer's concerned, when you go into his album, rhythmic harmonic stuff, what he's doing is like is crazy because he come on the back of Noisier and those guys, but he's got like soul sewn all the way through his shit. But I said to him as a test, an acid test, I'm gonna give you the big test here. I need you to do the river, and he was shitting it.
What a task!
And he get the river, and he came on. I played
the original's no joke.
I played at Egg. Well, the thing about the original was that on albums, I've never seen two vocals of the same track on the same album. Terry and Natalie, never been done. So I decided on the remix, let me give it to this young blood. And all these guys were like, all the kind of like, you know, old school guys. Like, whoa. I'm like, just leave him to it. By the way, I have a chemistry remix that no one's heard that he's done, which I will unveil. But the river, which is at least a year old now, we played Egg. He came on after me. I'd already played this remix and destroyed the place. This remix by far, in terms of somebody looking at your work and you're so proud, that kind of like Ben Kenobi proud.
Absolutely.
This motherfucker just I reloaded it twice, and I think 7 other people tried to. It didn't have the license to reload. That was stopped, but 3 hands got through. 3 hands did get through and reload that shit. I'm gonna take a picture. You play the tune.
Okay. And before I play it, I will say, I love the original immensely, and when he played it for me on the tour, he did not warn me he was going to play this remix. So I'm going to play it now, and I'm going to warn you all ahead of time. I'm talking all through this motherfucker because I know how some of y'all are. Sorry.
Who out there?
You know who I'm talking to.
If anyone's wondering why I'm disappearing, I am bringing this little thing.
He's got to explain himself from now on. All right.
Too, bro. Hold on, man. Oh, I'm about to
because y'all can't hear the song. Y'all can't hear the song anyway, so I'm just gonna go ahead and play this shit. So this is the River remix from Grey Code, and fuck you, this shit is dope.
All right.
Play the fucking tune. Check 1 2. Live and direct. Thank you everybody too, by the way. All of my people in the chat. Shout out. Reed, I got you. I lied to you. Man, you are listening to Rapid Talk 52120. MC Armanni Reign, track Valiant Emcee. This fucking tune is bananas.
Pieces of a dream makes no sense to me.
Makes no sense.
Watch the clock go round the night, but I pay no mind.
We got more coming in the
One drop
future.
of life is what you find.
So beautiful.
Oh Lord, and cuts like a knife.
Right here, listen.
You find yourself.
The patent and nasty face.
But you find yourself. But you find yourself.
I had to talk to him a lot to play this.
And it's all that river.
Woo-hoo. It's starting now. You good? You got time. You can talk away. This tune is no joke. Shout out Grey Code. Cease.
In a lullaby.
Absolutely fire. Okay. Wait, pull up. Okay. You right. I'm DJing. We gonna rewind it. You feel me? Ladies and gentlemen, once more time, the Mirror River remix from Grey Code, Journeyman album. Go pick up the album. The entire album is mind blowing. You know, I don't blow smoke, but I don't talk about albums much. I compare hip hop albums to this album.
Makes no sense to me.
Shout out to Allegory from Roy Survive 9.
Watch the clock go round the night, but I pay no mind.
Live and direct rapper talk.
One drop of life is what you find. Oh,
MC Armanni Reign.
Cuts like
shout out to the one called Goldie.
But you find yourself.
Shout out everybody in the chat. I see you.
But you find
while this thing's going on, if you want to tell me where you at, tell me where you from, I'll shout you out because I got to talk over this anyway. Shout out to my homie T.R.A.C. Shout out to Valiant Emcee. Simplify the movement.
In a lullaby.
God damn, this joint is so live.
And it's all
Where you at?
river.
Shout out my ATL crew, Elevate.
Oh,
Shout out my
that
Torch
river.
crew.
Oh, my
Yeah,
mind.
Houston was good, I see you. Sugar Brat was good. ATL, oh. Seattle was good. New England, I see you. Keep on coming.
In a lullaby.
North Virginia, I see you. It's good. Breakfast style in the building, New York. God damn. Appreciate every single one of y'all being here tonight, man. This is special. Everywhere.
Yeah, lit tonight.
Yeah, you can be dope. What you drinking? The drums are insane, right? Great move. The original album is out now. Journeyman album is out right now. You can go check that. It's been out. It's a double CD. I told you. That's one of the secrets.
It's been out for fucking donkey. It's been out for like 2-3 years.
I'll turn it down. They don't. I'll turn it down. Oh. We stop it right there. We'll stop it right there. The man is back. Thank you for that.
Yeah, well, the other,
I begged
the
you for
other,
that. So.
Yeah, the other remix on that album, because obviously the company Cooking Vinyl, who really dropped the ball on the remixes, because the remixes ain't even out yet, they really fucked that up. Anthony kind of picked up the pieces for those idiots. You know, Calibre's Run remix, Underground Resistance, Mad Mike's remix of Redemption with John Dixon is ridiculous. Yeah,
I mean,
I dropped the ball. Matthew Johnson's mixes on there. Yeah, some crazy mixes on that album that aren't even out yet, which is fucking stupid. I mean, I don't know where the fuck they're down at Cooking Vinyl, but they're not using their shit right. But we moved on. You know, Heads this year, you know, just to recap on this stuff, is prolific. You know, I mean, later on today, I'm going to be on with Steve Digital, talking about
Digital. Wow.
His journey through, you know, he's been doing his university thing.
Yeah.
Amazing. And Steve's an old guard, no nonsense. But you look, the albums we've got now are just, I mean, just on looking at what I've got here, I look at the schedule and I look at what we've got album wise from these artists. It's just insane. The new Rolodex EP, because do you remember Rolodex back in the day?
Oh yeah, hell yeah.
He'd come back with some killer.
Yeah.
Breakout's album, Phase's album. You know, the new Scar album just came out. Devil's Eyes came out. Then you've got Adred's album dropped as well. But you know, I just got Cyclone's new album, which is Nathan, which is just harking back to that classic Cyclone sound.
Right. Yeah.
150 to 160 BPM, around there. Searchlight Zero T. You know, I've got a whole album called Searchlight because we have a studio in KL, which is 100 studios, and it's 100 Fallen Tree. Fallen Tree is me and James, which deal with all the soundtrack stuff. And of course, we've got Natalie Duncan's album, which is about to drop. We're dropping a single, Natalie's album, which is Sirens, is going to be the first single. And all of these albums, going back to the series, all of these albums work as the artist on the front end, coming out as individual artist albums. But then we mix them all. So when episode 1 comes out, as soon as you finish watching episode 1, which are all an hour long, as soon as it finishes, you can buy 1.0, which is the soundtrack to that series, which includes all of the artists involved. Going back to the point of Needle Drop, when the music is so impactful within this world that I've been living in, then it's strong. And I think Grey Code, that mix, the way that he's been with his music is just incredible. To take on that folder alone with the sounds, it's a hard thing to mix, man. Any of my compositions are pretty difficult to mix, really. Unless you're Calibre and you can do it with 4 sounds.
Calibre.
God. Talk about it. Bring it up now. Clear the air.
Don't start me up.
Talk about it.
Don't start me up. You know why? You know what's so funny about this shit? When this whole thing with the drum bass or whatever, look, to me, I've grown up with Dillinja. When I went to go and visit Dillinja to get him on the label, before all of these things, before he'd even done Brutal Bass and all those things, he was already a god. This guy, in terms of what he was doing, to me, It's my opinion. And we're talking about the polarity of the sound here. We're talking about two complete juxtaposes.
I knew what you was talking about.
Because when you say kings, yeah, they're my kings. Yeah, okay. And Photek is a god. Yeah, thank you, Scotty. There's a point to make that, listen, you may think that Skippity's your god. What about Randall? Well, he's a DJ god. Yeah, okay, I get it. Yeah, okay, we're all demigods. Yeah, but don't get fucking so oitoits about shit, because I got fucking socks older than you cunts. And the idea of I get to do that.
There you go.
I get to reload Andy C. Can you? There you go.
I've seen Goldie reload intellect. RP.
Get the fuck out. Marcus is a deity. I could go on and on. It's my. Does that mean every time I see someone wearing that, me and Goldie and Ronnie Size, and get that shirt off your back? That ain't right. That's not right. We got to get that shirt right. Go print the fucking shirt yourself. Go make your own fucking empire. Because where I'm standing from, the table's brown. Now it's brown from where you're sitting, because we're sitting at the same brown table. But you're not even bringing a plate to that fucking table. So before you come down and talk shit, what plate are you bringing to the table? What do you have to talk about before you can say that? Now, we all produce music, and have been for years. I can still be a fan. I spoke to Rupert last week. Rupert is a fucking god, yes, but I have kings. They're all my kings. But me particularly in the polarity of the two opposites of Dillinja and Dillinja and fucking Calibre. Calibre can take 4 sounds and make it sound. I can't do that. And also, let's go back to the DJ culture thing for a second. Who could you listen to all night? Fabio could play 5 hours of Calibre and he'd still have dubs left.
Facts.
Same as Dillinja. There's not so many artists. You certainly can't do it with my music, and he's going to play Mother for an hour and kill everyone. You can't do that with my music. Because my music's not club music in that sense. It was in the 90s. You get it? You see where I'm going with this now?
Sure.
DJ Andy is a fucking power god. Yes, he is. When we talk about this, we know it's put it into context, guys. Don't lose your shit, man. It's my opinion as a fan. Because I've heard stuff from Dillinja. When Dillinja was in, I've heard stuff that's been bagged. I've heard Angels Fell bagged by so many, when I say bagged, put in the mix by a reputable DJ that I love. I've heard Randall do things with it that, wow. I've heard Groove Rider do things with it. I've heard fucking Groove Rider fucking struggle with it for 16 bars and it slips in, and all of a sudden, eureka, that moment of that 32 bars is just the magic of what this is about. So please, spare me, you motherfuckers. Yeah, that's exactly what it's about.
If you have said one word, if you have said one word on this topic, if you've said one word on this topic, you've said one word too much. You don't need to explain to anybody.
No,
exactly. I don't need to. The point I'm
I just like
is,
pushing his buttons.
The point I'm trying to make is that you don't get to tell me anything. You get to say something but if I'm in a club and I'm having a drink with you guys in the club, I'm sure as hell ain't gonna come up to me and go, hey, man, you know what you said about Dillinja being a guy? Couldn't disagree with that, man. You're not gonna say that to me.
No.
You're not gonna come up to me and say nothing to me.
When I throw you a fucking bone.
You know what I mean? Look, there's no stairs in here. You're entitled to say that shit if you're gonna get into the club, and you can get close enough to us to say that shit, or just sit there moaning to your bitch girlfriend because your drugs are finished.
All right.
Oh Lord.
So,
get it. Anyone want to start me off with some other shit?
No, it's fine. We're good. You needed to touch
Anyway,
on it.
I got to say thank you so much. You know what's great
Thank you.
Great about this is that I got to stretch out. I did a quick 20K this morning, got back. Gonna go do some Sebastians now. Yo, gangster baby. That's if anyone is questioning getting into yoga, man, just get on fucking line with Geraldo's from New York or Kelly Isaac, Fierce Grace. Check them out. They're doing like classes every day, or Yoga Quarter, the Yoga Quarter in England, because of the time difference or whatever is kind of good for you people because, it might be cool. And just give it a try, but don't kind of give up on it and just go through it, because it ain't about the weight loss. It's about the mental stability. And I'm doing more now and more sharp than I've ever done. I really mean that. I've got like 3 paintings on the go at the same time. The gallery of curated all of these artists and writing the screenplay You know, I've got, you know, I've been speaking to Statham and all these people. You know, they're not going to be in it, but there's people that are pointing me towards really great people. I'll say no more. You know, I've got Stephen Graham lined up with his, you know, Stephen's been a really good adversary with his whole project from day one. Dan Cadan goes without saying, he's my brother from another. His writing as a writer is prolific. So we're good. But, you know, Fallen Tree, look out for Fallen Tree because, you know, Subjective, all the music that we've got that's down tempo, you know, which kind of started with me with like State of Mind, Run, Run, Run. There's a pattern with all my music.
Right.
Every album's got something like, I think Cine Temple had True String, I think. I've always dabbled with it. So I'm really happy to still be here and be as passionate. Don't get the ego, which I have, but it's kind of slightly cold. Mixed up with passion. Don't get ego mixed up with passion, please, because the passion is backed up.
Oh, say that loud, please, for the people in the back.
The passion is backed up.
Yeah, my
In
God.
gold, backed up. And it was backed up in 96 with passion, continual passion, because the label, I could have stepped off, sold the label, did all of these fucking things, but the label is my hobby. It is a thing where it is a melting pot of ideas where you can come and electronically do what the fuck you want under my guidance. You'll get the phone call, bam, you know, done. You know, I just got a great EP, unbelievable EP, in fact, which you guys will be like, what the fuck? And I'm like, what the fuck is that? I'll tell you what it is right now. If I can remember, because my mind is fucking wrong.
It was that good.
Yeah, he was fucking huge in dubstep. He was an English artist. Fucking amazing EP he just delivered. But it's great, you know. That's what I'm saying. Every day I'm having this thing that's there. It's something that's just, it's so beautiful to have all of these artists and talk to all these guys and listen to what they got to say and try and guide them. I think the idea of when you get older, you start to realize if I can help them musically, mentoring them people, and I do that a lot with exercising arrangement, because that's my only magic. There's no curtain here. Arrangement's my key, and I think that's a skill set in itself. But I love you guys. I'm about to drop the Stiff Worldwide Mix, Light and Dark, is going to get dropped.
I do want to say thank you. It was a birthday present for me. But it was important to me to bring you on. It was important to me that you agreed to do it, took time out of your day early in the morning at that. I wanted people to see the side of Goldie that I know, the one that I chat on the phone with, the shit talking, having fun.
He's a nice guy after all.
It's not the Instagram, you know what I mean, your Instagram stories.
My ego's all people's perceptions of me fucking
sure.
astounds me.
You know?
Astounds me. I went into the store the other week in England. Last time I was in England, I went to the store. And I went to the store and I'm like, I'm fucking, man. Listen, the thing with yoga, you learn about it. 8 pints of blood, man, piss and shit. We're the same here, kids. Right. And somehow that gives people like, that means I can just give them some shit, right? And talk on a level, like, not really. No. But I went into a store. I went into a store and I went, can I get a packet of those and some Wrigley's? I go, oh, just mate, you're Goldie, you're that Goldie guy, right? I know you from somewhere, you're that Goldie guy. I went, no. He went, no, you are, man. I went, yeah, I am. He went, no, you're not. He's bigger than this. He's a lot bigger than you. Why you lie like this? I'm like, you asked me if I was, and then I told you, and then you said I was the guy on the TV, and I'm not on the TV. I'm in the TV. But
I know you're.
So I have to deal with that shit. But it's good when you're down because you get the white van guys, you know. Yo, Goldie! Do you know what he does? Not really. Your grandma knows me, you know. I get people saying that my grandma loves you. Hey, that's good too, you know. But I'm happy. I'm in a happy space. I love you all. I guess this is ending now.
Yeah, well, I mean, you can hang out we're going to play tracks. We got another half hour. We're going to play some music from track. I do want to say, if you are going to go, thank you very much from all of us. The chat is saying thank you very much. And I want to send a special shout out to your wife and your daughter. And, you know what I'm saying? And I'm glad.
I was hoping someone was going to ask me some curveball shit, but no one's asked any curveball questions.
We tried.
Well, we could. I mean,
you want to go there? We can. I said we got a half hour.
You can throw me a curveball. You can throw me any curveball you like. I'm good at baseball right now.
No, man.
But that's good. Listen. I love you guys. Aurum Gallery.
Big up, Goldie, man.
We're looking at the end of June. If you're in Bangkok, guys, and you're flying to Asia and you want an experience, come and see that.
What is the Instagram for that? Spell it.
It is at Aurum Art Gallery. So it's at Aurum Art Gallery. You can hashtag that or at that. And we're getting a lot of traffic over there with some prolific artists from around the world. Cine Temple will be, sooner than you think in production. Because I'm not going to divulge too much. I've got some fucking serious A-list people involved. But playing really quality roles that are not so. There's 5 peripheral main characters, and some other people play cameos in some respects. The kid that I found, which Alana found, one of my people that are working on the team, I got this kid from Doncaster, man. A fucking kid, man. This kid, 10-inch afro, mixed race, well spoken, unbelievable kid, which is hard to find. Casting a kid, as Soderbergh said, if anyone knows Soderbergh's work, he did a schizophrenia spider. Very difficult to cast one of 2 things: a child as a star and mental illness. The 2 things you don't fuck with. I fucked with both and then wrapped them into this great story. So I'm really excited to direct because I've always seen Cine Temple, every fucking scene. And the soundtrack, what me and James have put together on Subjective 3, which is called Fallen Tree, basically, it's based on subjective music, is just another planet for me. Because being involved in an urban tale, the Shakespearean, that evokes you in the silence with this sound, is just like, So I've been really excited about that because I think there's so much narrative in urban stuff. We don't need the narrative, man. That's why I thought Euphoria was a great fucking show. You guys got Euphoria. Obviously people can't relate to it, but it's, the story of these people that are not like their parents that do drugs. Yeah, it's normal. And to have these experiences and also to find out this shit's falling apart, who you think they are, they're really not. I think it's prolific. I think the director, I forgot his name, is fucking unbelievable. One of the talks I saw him do, talking about mental health and how he got to that stage of wanting to have the confidence to even want to direct. And for me to get to this stage where you think what I lack in confidence, guys, I make up in Instagram to have a laugh. Because believe me, behind closed doors, I used to have these times where it's 6 a.m. and I'm trying to find a dealer, and I'm trying to find the last grain of coke in the carpet, man, and I'm done fucking, and I can't. There's nothing left. That's a really sad moment in my life. Do you know what I mean? To be there, but to be on the other side where I'm waking up and I'm seeing my kid wake up, and she's like, we're laughing from the minute she wakes up, and speaking to Chance in England, and my daughter, and she's 21 now, and she's, she's got a good guy on side, and just the way that she's great, and she had to deal with all my shit through my drug days, and the trauma that I've gave to her and coming through. It's just an amazing thing, and you know what? There's a better version of me. I think in all of us, there's a better version of us waiting to come out.
Amen.
Like the guy in the Classic Goldie program, right? The guy in the Classic Goldie program. I'll leave you on this. There's some footnotes at the end of this thing. And that's what I finally learned to make it in my own way through Sibelius. Anyone knows what Sibelius is. And I mastered it, And the guy who, Christopher, who was the engineer on Sibelius, and the way that I interacted with the engineer, he was going, you know what? And the thing about being a better DJ after, he goes, you know what it's like for you guys? It's so fucking lucky. What do you mean? He went, well, you get to think of an idea on a Tuesday, get the sounds together on a Wednesday, master it and put it on a dub on a Thursday, and you get to play it in the club on a Friday. There are so many composers. Let's talk about don't get me started. I'm talking 18th to 19th century composers that lived and died without recordable audio, guys, to be able to write massive opuses. And I'm talking in 2002 when Russia opened up. There's so many compositions we never heard of, right? Because it was locked down.
They were locked down.
Hear this fucking music that they never got to hear. They lived and died. They never got to hear. So imagine the ability as those kings, real kings, got to, like Beethoven, to write their music, and to get to hear it with an orchestra playing. Think about the people that didn't get to hear it played by an orchestra. Ooh. So the point I'm making is that to be where I am and doing what I'm doing now, to the point at the end of the program, when the guy turned around and went, I see what Goldie did with this program. I think it was okay. I think it was rather good. But I also think, and it's very condescending way, Roger Wright, head of BBC Music, I also think that as much as I think his composition was okay, I think there was a bigger composition waiting to break out. It's called Give Me the Motherfucking Budget, you cunt. And I can do it. I can do it. You know, we can move mountains, or some motherfuckers here. You give us the budget, you know, you give us the A&R. We know the fuck to sign.
It's a wrap.
You know, so that's the whole point with Fallen Tree and 100. I've got this guy, Taggio, from Atlanta. Just gonna fucking, I'm gonna send it to Armanni actually to try it out for me. You know, he's 12 tracks in. This shit's some fucking booty music, boy. Like, what? You know, like I'm like, this guy's voice is like I'm squeezing this motherfucker's nuts. I'm like, yo. I said to him yesterday, I keep playing these shits on my wife, man. She gonna want to make me to pull over, motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? I said it to my daughter. Chance was like, yeah, Dad. I'm like, what's it like? She went, it's fucking great, Dad. I'm like, is it booty music? She went, Dad. She went, think I have any good dates tonight, if that's what you want to know. I'm like, the music's working then. So, you know, it's great. I'm in this role now. I'm in this role of A&R, which I never thought I'd be in. But everyone watch out. Natalie Duncan's album, Free.
Natalie Duncan.
Drop. Free. It's impeccable. She did it here in Thailand. She flew in. She knew what she wanted to do. Me and James just babysitted the whole project.
Nice.
It's a beauty. So look out for Fallen Tree. We've got a lot of shit coming out on Fallen Tree. Osquello. Little Cigarettes, this mad fucking, he hates when I say it's Eminem type mad fucking
yeah.
He's mad as fuck, like he's just crazy, but a great album, you know. Got Myself a Gun, you know, some mad shit, and it's just great. I'm in a really great place. If anyone wants to come to Asia, you're not coming to my house, but hey, come to Asia, you guys are welcome. But come and check out the gallery back up. I'll be telling you, bring the kids, motherfucker.
I know. We're doing too.
So that's all. I want to give my shouts.
Honestly, on the real tip, on the music tip, and I've sent you some stuff I've been working on lately. I think I'm finally ready to do that.
All right. Well, let me you know what I'm like. We've been trying for years. People think you.
I wasn't ready before.
The problem with your money, the problem with you, which I have. I can see relevance to that. Get your fist out of my motherfucking face, motherfucker. Is that you were 2 way ahead, and because you're cross genre, those guys didn't understand what you're doing there, and those guys didn't understand what you were doing there. That's the story of my life. You know, the drum and bass people think it's just drum and bass, and I'm like, no, it's this other thing. And the people that are like into classical go like, oh, well, they don't understand mother. That's the story of my life. And you know, in the end, we'll work it out.
For sure.
Well, I love you guys.
I love you too, brother. Thank you so much.
I'm out of here.
Yeah, and salute.
Dude, I think you saved the world in these 2 hours, bro.
Yeah,
Big
man.
salute, man.
Shit right there.
Yeah, man. That was beautiful. I appreciate you.
All right. I've heard enough of
All
my
right,
own
I
voice.
choked. Sorry, guys.
I love you, brother. Thank you.
Listen, I've heard enough of my own fucking voice for 2 hours, which has kind of fed my ego immaculately.
You did well.
I did well. So I leave you boys on this note.
I love
Remember
you,
this. Always love each other. Give each other a hug on a daily basis and cherish those that you love. I will see you soon. And if anyone wants to send music at info@metalheads.co.uk, you're more than welcome to do so. Track, I'd moisturize those lips if I were you. And young man,
no.
You, my man, I would take that hat off and give it a good old polish. Armanni, I have nothing to say.
Oh, I already did.
Shiny, I know. And you, Armanni, I have nothing to say but dissent. I love you like the bastard brother child you are.
I love you too, my G.
Radio all.
I'll speak to you soon, my brother. Man.
Oh Lord. Yo, just for clarification, cameras for some reason make certain parts of the, you know, now I'm all like insecure.
Don't let him smell blood, or it's a problem, man.
Yeah, but the lips are good. That's all I got to say.
Hey, look, that was beautiful, man. I'm so glad he came through. It's just like we got more in store too. I'm not gonna get into all that, but it's always a blessing to sit and chat with him. And when he talked, he was like, "What is this? You know, is it a formal thing?" And I said, "No, man. We're just a bunch of homies sitting around. We're gonna chat, and I want you to sit down and talk to everyone like you sit and talk to me." And he's always up for that. And I love when people see that side of him and what he's doing and all the stuff in the background that he doesn't get to talk about often. A lot of times because, you know, whatever's set in place the normal promotion and yada yada yada, but I knew that he would come on here and love to just sit down and be himself.
Dude, so, you know, there's like we could have had him here for 4 hours.
Oh
we
yeah,
could
for
have
sure.
asked him like massive questions, and I was just like, you know what, man? I think he's answered a lot of questions a million times, and the ones we asked was some like they opened up a whole new world. So I was just happy with just that.
Let me go back to shouting out everybody in the chat once again. I appreciate all the people who followed, all the new followers, people who were in the chat, very active, very talking. Shout out to MJ for modding tonight as well. Everybody from all over.
Big up to MJ as well, man. Big ups, bro.
Yeah, you guys have been epic every single week. We've got more in store, so I appreciate you guys. If you want to keep coming through, we're gonna play some more music because we've got a premiere, right? We're gonna premiere this bad boy.
Well, we gonna call it a premiere, right? I know I shouldn't be eating no goddamn potato chips, but
it's fine. I kind of like, you know what I'm saying.
Yo, let me just explain, y'all. Me and Brian and everybody behind the scenes have been quietly trying to figure what we wanted to do with this project to complement the whole Life in Motion thing. What started out with just a few remixes turned into a full body's worth of remixes. And, we're prepping now to get it all together for you. And we're really proud to let you guys check out the Random Movement Step Tune remix done by the legendary Blame. Y'all know Blame's Robin S., Michael Jackson. He's worked with a lot of big heads in his time. And, this is his return. Shadow Records, Moving Shadowhead. Y'all know who I'm talking about. Super big legend. And this is sort of his return in a sense, I guess. Not necessarily a return, but, he's been walking in real nice and easy, checking things out. And we were happy to link up and do a little spin on an already classic record called Step Tune. Shout out to my man Random Movement and Adrian. Much love to both of y'all. And Armanni, I said enough.
Cool, man. I'm going to play it right now. You want to hear it? Here it go.
A few moments later.
The Mob. Yes. Dude, that tune is the summer.
Yeah, that tune is.
It's the summer.
Yeah, it's a proper summer vibe.
I want to run outside and lick someone's hand.
I got people hitting me up talking about, yo, you better send me that tune. That's what's up, man. Yo, big shouts to everybody for listening.
When's it come out?
It's out on Monday, the Step Tune remix.
Y'all can wait.
The project is called Life and Remix, and you're going to have to wait for a date on that as we start giving you guys a lot of fire people got involved. And so there's a lot of really proper remixes, a lot of dance floor ready tunes. And, big shouts to re-recordings, man. Brian is a man that's beyond his time in the mind.
Shout out, Brian.
One of these days, I'm going to get him to stay up late so we can kick it out. You know what I'm saying?
I was going to say, you need to pull that card. But
pull that man out.
I was going to wait till we was off air.
Could always pre-record it.
We could.
That's true, too.
We could.
We're going to have to do that with some of the UK heads.
Most of those cats stay up late anyway, man.
I don't know.
It's super late. It's like 5 a.m.
They just want you to know they ain't up,
it's
so you can be like, oh,
right it's 5. 5 is different.
Yeah, man. But salute y'all. Coming real soon. Shouts to Blame, the return to Blame, and all we want to do is give you guys, all of us here especially. My man Van's dropping an amazing project in June. You know what I mean? Now, you heard that, right? You heard the little stutter, but whatever.
No, I'm laughing at Leaked with the super duper one-liners in the chat, right? Shit is lit.
Monty's been at work, and I'm sure you've been watching his Instagram. And come on, bro. Come on, bro.
Hey, y'all wanted me to release these hoodies? Let me know. These are the hunted hoodies for hunting season.
I'm in like Flynn on that, brother. I'm only hours away from you. If I could sneak up, I would.
Hand you that bag from 6 feet away. But yeah, let me know. I'll release them. There is new merch on the website. That is ArmanniReign.com. Selfish plug. But it's our channel, so it's not really selfish. That's what the fuck we're doing. But yeah, we hard at work, man. There's a whole bunch of music coming. We say it every week. T.R.A.C obviously laying a bunch of shit. Valiant's got music coming. He's got music out right now, sir. Correct?
There's music out, but new music out. New music is coming out in June.
He has a mix out. I got
a mix out that came out a few weeks ago. Right. I got the EP on Focus coming out on June
one of the best covers of 2020. I'm telling you right
What,
now.
the mix?
Really loves that cover.
You know what I'm talking about. That cover is fire.
It is fire.
The mix is fire.
It's
Yeah.
funny.
Yeah.
It's the first thing he talks about every single time.
I know. So I got the EP on Focus coming out June 26th, and I got my remix LP coming out on June 16th.
What's that coming out on?
What's the thing? On Duddy Bass.
And Dirty Bass, nice.
The reason
Focus
why I
and Dirty
asked that
Bass,
is because the last time we spoke about it, you didn't say.
Yeah, I know. It just got announced this past week. If you look at my Instagram, it's all over there. So
Just doing my job. You know what I'm saying?
I got you.
Wait. We got Valiant tunes, or we chilling?
What's that? Yeah. I sent him another one.
I didn't
tonight, but he
see
didn't
him
download
until.
And you got the one that you were gonna play last week, and you didn't. That's all right. It's okay,
No,
Armanni.
I never got that. I actually went back and the link was expired. But yeah. So he sent me
you went back
tunes.
a week late.
Facts.
If it was expired.
Well, we were trying to download it last time and the shit wasn't working, and you know what I mean, yada yada yada.
I've sent you the link too. You can stream it.
I didn't see your tune this time until I was already in the setup process.
That's all right.
Now, if you'd have been here on time in pre-production, we could have gone over.
You know that I roll through
according
quarter to 10.
But look, I've got it. I will download it as soon as we are done this, and we go through it. Look, they didn't come here to hear us argue.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, they
Shouts to
definitely
Dana
did.
real quick. Yeah, maybe we might do a little earlier time just to see how it works, but we'll work it out. The next couple weeks, I want to tell everybody
10 o'clock.
Make sure you're here. Make sure you're here 10 o'clock. You've got a lot of names, a lot of people y'all want to check, and I'm not even bugging. Somebody behind the scenes, come on, working pretty hard to bring some names here. So hold tight. Trust me, we got y'all.
Nobody's coming. I'm just kidding. I'm joking. Yeah, no, it's gonna be fun, man. It's I love my friends. So yeah, I'll see y'all soon, man. We're gonna cut this one short because we are here every time and we're always like, ah. But once again, thank you everybody. I'm laughing at the chat. For those who can't see the chat and just see me laughing like an idiot. I love y'all so much. Thank y'all for tuning in. Thank you for all the well wishes during the week, man. It's many blessings. Shout out to Jesso. It was his birthday too. Shout out my drums brother affiliate. Yeah, shout out my ATL crew and all y'all around the world.
Big ups to New York City,
right,
man. Big ups my man up in Rhode Island, Audio Fields.
Worldwide ting.
What the hell is Rhode Island doing? Yo, salute. Stateside. Y'all came out hard as a mofo. So salute to everybody up in here, man. So.
Yeah. Oh, hey, big up. He's not on the chat. He said he was going to watch it later, but big up Elmatica. He said he was going to tune in afterwards.
Salute for not showing.
And Diligent Fingers. Big up Jeff and Steve. All my friends who were tuning in.
Big up.
It was a big one, bro. It was a good one.
Man.
And we let Goldie, and we got Patricia and whoever the other guy was. And they, you know what I mean?
Almost forgot that happened. He was like, he was like, I don't know who's gonna show up. I tried to tell everybody in the chat. I was like, yeah, we're gonna do Goldie, but I don't know which Goldie's gonna show up.
Who's gonna show up?
But look, man, that dude is seriously like my older brother, a mentor. I take a bullet for that man. So I'm so happy he came through, and I appreciate everybody checking it out. I'm glad you guys got to hear some new music. Elliot Reed, you owe me $5 for that remix being played, and just keep your money. I'm joking. It's nothing less than 100. And we'll see y'all next time. As always, if you're feeling some type of way, please reach out to anybody you can. Don't be shy about it. It is Mental Health Month, and I want everyone to be aware of that, super on point about it. But in the meantime, take care of yourselves and each other, and we will see you next time. Much love to everybody, man. Blessings.
Keep safe, y'all. Much love.
And then I do the obligatory.
Yeah, I'm about to say, I'm about to say you ain't catching me out there this time.